A very warm welcome back to the Europe Summer Regional UK Championships. Our first semi-final is done and dusted, and as the French players in the dictatage said as they came off the stage, it was brutal, savage, racked. I don't know if we're going to get the same in game two, but let's hope not. This one should be a little bit closer. It's myInsanity going head-to-head with Fnatic. One team with a point to prove and the other looking for a second consecutive regional final. Let's find out from our expert panel who they think are headed down to the final. Kendrick, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. And before we start with analyzing our next best of five, I have to make a little bit of an announcement because the grand finals are definitely going to take place around 7 o'clock CEST in the evening. So it doesn't really matter how long this upcoming best of five is going to take. It's always going to be at 7 o'clock, so you guys can actually plan ahead accordingly. Now, I want to welcome Mr. Grubby here at the analyst desk. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me here. Be really eager to delve into some of these drafts here from myInsanity and Fnatic.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely going to be a very, very strong best of five because, as Red Eye mentioned, it is actually going to be a team or a match between two teams who are on equal footing, I might want to say. Do you have anything to add, or do you disagree, Dred?
I would say I disagree. I think myInsanity is the better team. I think Fnatic has a lot of tools open to them, and they do a lot of things very right. At the same time, I feel like myInsanity has shown consistently through drafting is one of probably their major selling points. And then I think they do have the teamwork necessary, whereas Fnatic has, I mean, yesterday specifically, consistently showed moments where the only way they could lose the game if they made this decision. And that happened about 3 different times in one game specifically. So it just, if those things happen, I think myInsanity has what it takes to punish for them.
Grubby, what do you think in terms of power levels between those two teams? Can we measure them on equal footing, or do you agree with Dred that myInsanity has the upper hand in this upcoming match?
Well, there's a bit of a new world order. I should say new continent order, really, because we're in Europe here. But it is a little bit like that. With the favorites have subtly shifted in Europe. It used to be Team Liquid and Dignitas. And now, yeah, I do think myInsanity, it was not a fluke that they got second place in the last qualifier. I think myInsanity has availed themselves really well with good drafting, good hero flexibility, teamwork, and team atmosphere. Fnatic, though, they're stronger than I thought they would be at this tournament, and they have played well, but they have not looked as good doing so. I think myInsanity is the favorite, but this is a best of 5. And we haven't seen these teams in a LAN environment here live playing for us in a best of 5. So it is going to be a bit of a different ballgame.
Yeah, it's definitely also putting the amount of physical and psychological stress to another level, playing for such a long time in such a tight environment, as you mentioned, Grubby. We're going to take a look at the team's group stage and to see which teams they have overcome on their way to this semifinals. We're going to start with Group A and take a look at myInsanity. They have had a clean 2-0 overall. I mean, they have beaten teams like Liquid, they've beaten teams like Casual Gaming and the Silence Monkeys. It is a really, really solid performance overall by myInsanity. And once again, they are definitely trying to make that final statement. Hey guys, we are actually pretty damn good and we're tired of these inconsistency rumors around us.
Yeah, I think actually they're not tired of it. It seems almost like they relish it. Because in previous interviews, myInsanity has said it's so nice being the underdog, so we're not actually doing them a service by calling them. But you know, we're going to call it how it is. If you don't want to, if you want to remain the underdog, stop winning.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
They got to roleplay a little bit more about that, right?
Yeah, it's just like they've done so well consistently, and it's been surprising, at least from my perspective, as to why they've been considered kind of like the lower end teams. And like, for instance, Na'Vi has been held in regard as one of the most impressive. Actually, when I asked some of the teams, they were like, I gave kind of my predictions, and they were like, really? And then I was like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about some of the teams in Europe. And then specifically Na'Vi, they were like, you don't feel like Na'Vi is going to pull top 2, top 3? And I personally felt like that wasn't going to be the case. And a lot of the players were like, well, that's very surprising you feel that way. So I think now, as you said before, everyone's slowly beginning to accept, all right, Na'Vi, you're not the powerhouse you once were. And then myInsanity maybe needs to be giving more credit than we've given them.
Absolutely. I mean, they have shown us great games. They have their core strengths, which are, of course, the being unpredictable. They have strong hero pools on several players in their team. Let's talk a little bit about their opponents, though. Fnatic, by no means an unknown team. If we take a look at Group B here, they've had a little bit of a more bumpy road than myInsanity, but nevertheless, beating Na'Vi twice in a row in the same tournament is quite a feat to be proud of, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Na'Vi not in the top 4 here by virtue of Fnatic's performance, which means that technically they did not, well, no one beat the top 4. Well, actually, Dignitas did. They didn't beat the top 4 team to get to the top 4. But I think, interestingly, the scores don't tell the full story, because although Fnatic lost to Team Dignitas, it was pretty close to being 1-1, and then who knows what would happen. So that was not like a walkover, definitely not like the first best of 5 that we saw today.
Now, in order to achieve their maximum potential, both teams actually got together, charged themselves up, and got pumped up. So let's take a look how they did exactly that.
You can never expect how a game looks. You cannot know it. One time in top, one time in bottom. Everything can happen in that group. Everything, literally. The group stage started good with 2-0 Na'Vi. Wasn't that hard. We were pretty confident. In the semifinal, we'll face MYI. I think MYI are tough, really different. It will be a clash between the styles, and we will see what happens. I like the Liquid boys a lot, so I hope we meet them in the finals. I think they're all cool guys. I like every one of them. Yeah, I think they will advance for sure, that they will do it easily. In the finals, I probably expect to face Dignitas. Dignitas, maybe, to have a bit of a revenge. From last regionals in Katowice, we lost to them in the finals, so I think we would like to meet them.
Thank you very much. That was absolutely ridiculous. I really can't stress enough how much I am digging these videos. They really create a nice atmosphere and mood to get into this game. Now we see Fnatic quite chilled, quite relaxed here. Of course, in the background we see, by the way, Kareon, their personal coach, so to speak. He works a lot in order to boost their morale, to boost their motivation even further. And if you take a look at the entire stats that they had here, 21-8, that's quite an impressive feat. Once again, to wrap it up, guys, Dread, what do you think is the core strength of Fnatic?
I'm going to say Thero Angel. I think he is very much a playmaker for them. He's very constant in a lot of the situations with his playstyle, like his Dahaka yesterday in a draft that I felt like they were a little bit on kind of the back foot, single-handedly making a lot of bold moves, and he's somebody to be looking out for.
Grubby, anything to add? What strikes you most about Fnatic?
Although Quacknix doesn't have a large hero pool, he plays the 2 heroes that he plays quite well. One strategy against him could be to take some of those away. He does play other heroes as well, but these are his favorites. So it's both a strength and a weakness that I find fascinating.
Yeah, we're talking, of course, about Greymane and Falstad. Greymane has been hit a lot by the most recent balance change update anyway, so he's not really a common sight anymore as he used to be a couple of weeks ago. Now, Fnatic, of course, you mentioned Thero Angel. He is one of those players that is able to adapt very quickly. He plays a lot of different heroes, a lot of different roles. His Murky, of course, is dreaded, whereas his Tyrael is legendary.
Yeah, legendary indeed. He is, in my opinion, probably one of the better Tyrael players in the world. And yeah, as you said, kind of pulling out the Murky, he has a very interesting hero pool and what they decide to put him on in each of the games, but it does seem like he has a very influential and positive impact for his team in every game.
Thero even has been playing a lot of Gazlo on the ladder. I don't know if it's something to pass time, to piss off his allies, or to prepare legitimately with a secret weapon for this tournament.
Every time
I'm pretty sure that the viewers out there wouldn't mind a one-man wrecking crew at some point, would they?
No, every time I talk to him, he goes, "We could Gazlo." And I was like, "You can't be serious." He's like, I don't know. We could. So I would definitely enjoy that. I know he would as well. So.
All right, this makes you definitely ready. But let's
Seems
check
good.
out their opponent. Seems good indeed. myInsanity, of course, the German diesel motor, if you will. They are, of course, a force to be reckoned with. Hase, we mentioned it times and times over. He's incredibly experienced, not only in Heroes of the Storm. He has been playing the game ever since the early stages of the alpha, but he also has a rich background in both Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2. Grubby, how much is that of an asset?
I mean, I first played against Hazops in Warcraft 3 when he was 14 years old.
That's how old is he now? Can you tell?
He's in advanced 20s, but I mean, he has been very successful in 3 games already. There's very few people, period, in pro gaming of any game that have
across
been
all regions.
winning tournament. Yeah, across the world and beyond, that have done well in 3 different games. So.
Yeah, and the record also, 23 wins against 7 losses, quite impressive. Now, if we also take a look at Splendor, we mentioned him earlier already. He is one of those support players that is very analytical. He also does a lot of theory crafting for myInsanity, writing down potential compositions and also analyzing the enemies. How much do you think can supports actually have an impact on the whole drafting thing, Dread?
I mean, I don't know if his role specifically kind of has influence on it. Maybe a little bit. But I think his approach to the game, if he is the lead that has a vast influence on their team's draft, I would argue that I think myInsanity probably has the healthiest draft, if not the second healthiest drafts out of everybody in this tournament.
Yeah, I agree. They have this a number of weapons that kind of have to be counterbanned. Darkmok on Sonya and on Illidan is truly scary. So Illidan becomes this thing that you just don't want to give to myInsanity. But the same thing is Vikings. They have 2 Lost Vikings players. Another big threat that completely alters the course of a battleground, which you completely have to counter draft. You have this, and then what about all the other things, like the standard contested picks, like Kel'Thas, etc.?
What about the dreaded Cho'Gall that they like to pull out every once in a while? The variety of team comps that myInsanity is able to put on the table is sheer endless, and that's what makes them so dangerous. I also have to highlight Nurak here. He is a very flexible player. He plays semi-supports like Tassadar or Tyrande very well, but at the same time, he's also a specialist or an assassin player.
Yeah, very flexible plays from all of them, and it looks like we're about to get ready to start looking at this first draft here of the second semifinals of our Leicester Summer 1 regionals for Europe.
Right, I heard the first battleground is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, a battleground that is very interesting to watch, as we do have a lot of early game aggression here, a lot of rotations. Picking up gemstones is of the essence, and doing so requires you to have good timing, not only on collecting them for yourselves, but also to prevent enemies from actually paying in.
Yeah, sorry, I was already just appreciating the fact that we were talking about this a little bit before the 3rd map, and so showing that myInsanity actually was the choice of Tomb of the Spider Queen. They also were the team who decided to go with Battlefield. So, but already both teams very quick in this draft. Zool going to be banned out. Zagara, I think that's a call out saying Fnatic's not willing to play Kel'Thas. I know myInsanity is going to have very high value on that. Tassadar is a very high contested hero as well. They go with the Kel'Thas. I do like that adaptation for Fnatic. Really heads up there.
Yeah, Kel'Thas, one of those very explosive threats, quite literally there. Not only does he have great burst damage, but he's also great at zoning enemies, potentially from the turn-in point, Grubby.
Yes, exactly. Another 2 that are actually really good at that is Johanna and Tassadar. Johanna is actually my favorite warrior for this map. She's got great wave clear, can do really good 4-man rotations on 2 different lanes, so strong warrior pickup. It also, I don't know if you agree with this, but it also shows in a way that they want to hide like the next 3 picks, because generally Johanna doesn't get prioritized that highly.
I actually don't like her that high in draft priority on this map. I do agree with you that she is very good. I just feel like I would be willing to pick her later up in the draft.
That's what I mean.
But it does kind of hide.
Because you are willing, therefore it almost seems like surprise, like hiding other things is the only way that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can agree to that. Sonya is going to be banned out here. Something to be looking at for myInsanity is they do have an absurd amount of wave clear. Thrall is going to be an appealing solo option now that Sonya and Zagar are going to be banned out. But, I'm guessing it's going to be a Karzim pickup, but I guess they don't have to at this point because Uther is there, largely because when you have Lunar, it's one of the few that can deal with it. And in Illidan, on this smaller map, this is a very unique draft coming out from myInsanity.
Can you tell us why?
So hold on, one thing. I think Tyrael is going to be picked for Fnatic, actually.
Oh, he counters Illidan really well.
Well, not only that, it pairs a little bit with the Divine Shield. They don't necessarily need it, but I know this is a pairing that is Fnatic. It kind of might find appealing at moments. It's going to be really interesting. They go with the Greymane still. But your original question was going to be, I forgot.
Yeah, why is it so uncommon for
it? Again, another small map. Yeah. It's a situation every time he gets into a small map at the distance.
Illidan,
yeah, it's just Illidan always struggles a little bit when it comes to the smaller maps. So.
And we haven't seen him yet this tournament.
Yeah,
lots of bans.
We
but
have one time.
Oh yeah.
We saw it, but it was again on a smaller map. It's like because a lot of the teams you see he's banned on every large map, and then the small maps they let him go through because typically he doesn't gain that much value.
Right, because his chasing potential is rather limited, and Illidan is one of those targets that wants to stick to you and deal consistent damage over an extended period of time. Now there is still a last pick going for Fnatic, and
if we do see Tyrael, then Divine Storm becomes a possible pickup.
I agree with you. I think Divine Storm's a possible pickup no matter what. I think it becomes a little bit more...
Even solo support?
I honestly feel like, I don't feel like they're in Illidan just dies. If you go in most situations that he's going to be paired up with, it's a very good response, even on the smaller maps as a solo. I don't think it's a must-have, but I always think it's an option in these type of situations.
Time is running out for Fnatic as they're contemplating their final pick. Is it going to be Tyrael or perhaps something else? Murden is still available. It's going to be Chen.
They go with the Chen. Okay.
This surprises me.
So I think they really want to rely on Chen being a very stable frontliner and maybe disrupting Illidan's charge with his Wandering Keg. But I have to question that pick because I think there would have been heroes like Murden who would have made much more sense.
I mean, Murden is a very... I mean, he gets talked about a lot as a counter to Illidan. I feel like he's more like... He mitigates Illidan a bit. He's not really a counter. I don't know if that makes sense.
I kind of agree with you. His attack speed debuff lowers his resets on his skills, and then mixed with the hard CC that he provides, it makes him a little bit more killable. I agree it's more of a negating rather than a direct counter. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about this Chen pickup here.
So Chen, obviously, the guy likes to play Chen, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of it. You can try to push away Illidan's allies when he jumps in.
Maybe you want to isolate him.
See, that's how. But Illidan thrives in areas and team compositions that have low damage. We were talking about yesterday, the problem with Tassadar is that Tassadar pairs with Illidan, but you can't pick Tassadar against Illidan because then you don't have enough damage to kill the Illidan. Chen struggles with the same problem.
Yeah.
His isolation happens, but Illidan goes, you have very low damage with these 4 people over here. None of them can actually deal with me and actually kill me. Like, Greymane is going to have a decent amount of purse. Kel'Thas, I actually think can, but if he misses the gravity lapse, which is needed for his vulnerability, I just don't know if they have the damage for it.
And we have also seen Tassadar and Rhaegar being picked as the supports for Illidan.
So ideal
this
situation.
is the Hero League composition that everybody strives for.
Yeah.
Do you think that Fnatic has what it takes to counter this strong triple?
Let's say Fnatic activates Mosh Pit with Divine Shield on it, and Chen pushes everyone with the barrel into a Mosh Pit. Yeah, that's never going to happen.
That would be pretty neat,
I mean, no matter what, this is one of those drafts that can break the rules when you have Mosh Pit and Divine Shield. That says, like, okay, we can theoretically put your entire team in a Mosh Pit, but it's very unlikely to happen because we have a highly mobile team for myInsanity. Even Wandering Cake can be shrugged off with Iron Skin, Dimensional Shift, Lunara's movement speed, Illidan's Metamorphosis and movement speed, Rhaegar movement speed.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it too much for Fnatic, actually.
We have been focusing a lot on the Illidan, but something we should not forget is the Lunara. Lunara still being able to maybe capitalize on that much attention that Illidan draws on himself. And then we have Uther, who's not a great AoE healer.
I think maybe the mentality a little bit with the Chen is kind of the idea that Illidan's going to be diving one backline, and then Chen is going to be harassing the Lunara because she'll struggle.
So he is like a pseudo Illidan?
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of. I mean, back in the day, they were some of the best pairings, right? They're both great at chasing. They're both very hard to kill on their own, especially if you go Storm, Wrath, and Fire. That was actually one of the #1 strategies for a long period of time. Is both of you dive the backline, and then you just can't kill either one of them. And so maybe as kind of like a pseudo Illidan as a counter response. I don't think it's nearly as good as the Illidan on the backline, especially with the limited amount of damage that they have. But it might be the kind of the mentality that they're looking to go for here.
Something we can definitely say already is that this is by far one of the most explosive drafts in a best of 5
And it's
or
like
in a
this
series.
every time with myInsanity.
Yeah.
Exactly. You cannot predict what they are going to pull out. So if we once again summarize maybe both of these team comps and analyze them a little bit, who do you think will have the upper hand, or who got the upper hand out of this draft, Grubby?
Well, I feel a lot of confidence oozing here from myInsanity. They're bringing out secret weapons. Darkmok already played Illidan like 9 times recently in these qualifier games. It's his top 2 most played heroes in the recent competitive games. He should be really happy with the comfort of that draft. I think myInsanity is looking a little bit stronger here. But in terms of draft, I really like what they've got going. And Lunara gets so enabled by Illidan.
Absolutely.
Like, there will be less attention on her. It will be up to Fnatic to actually bring the heat to Lunara.
Right, Dread, one quick final statement about both of these comps.
I almost never will support Illidan and Lunara on the same team, especially on a small map, but I still agree that myInsanity has the draft here. I didn't think I'd say it when I saw those two together, but I actually think they do.
I can't believe what he just said.
Well, we shall see. Let's see if Team Fnatic is prepared against the Illidan comp that myInsanity puts on the battlefield. And I know that our casters on the other end, they are prepared for sure. So Calder and Tetcher, take it away, guys.
Thank you, Kendrick, very much. We have a great match ahead of us. We have myInsanity going up against Fnatic, starting things off in a best-of-5 series with Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yeah, Tomb of the Spider Queen, one of our favorite maps in total. Yep. Like, Infernal Shrines and Tomb seem to be just we bounce between them every now and again, depending on what the meta is. But overall, super excited for this. The Illidan coming out on a small map. I'm just curious to see how they can run it.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, there's a couple of heroes, of course, that we're a little bit afraid of. I have to admit that there is nothing that I'm more afraid of than the death stare that we just saw from Smexy. I mean, what was that about? Like, if that was directed against one of the myInsanity players, I would be afraid of that kid. But yeah, great lineups that we have here already. Of course, Illidan is already being played. myInsanity, they have one of the biggest hero pools, actually the biggest hero pool on their roster in the entire tournament. And it's something that all of the teams have been talking about a lot, that it's very, very difficult to draft against these guys. Of course, Fnatic right now, they made that choice to go into the Chen as their pick, and they will probably try to bully that Lunara, but a bold pick nonetheless.
Yeah, the Chen is going to be very interesting to see how well it works against the Lunara, how well it works against the Illidan. So, going to be cool to see that. And once again, we of course have the Greymane coming back in for Fnatic. They very much like the hero. It has worked out for them in a couple of the games, but some people have said maybe the Greymane isn't the cause of some of those victories.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they actually also adapted the draft slightly since they picked up the Kalthas this time. They've been talking a lot about the games against Na'Vi yesterday and how they can still improve their drafting process, especially against myInsanity. One of the plans that they had was to not focus too much on what myInsanity could do or would do, but a little bit more cater towards their own strength, since they just said it's impossible anyways to have the perfect draft against myInsanity. They can just adapt mid-draft with the flexibility that they have in their lineup. And talking that flexibility, Fnatic here, they decide to play it with Kel'Thas, played by Shrimpy. We have the Thera Angel on the Chen. Greymane, of course, played by Gwaknix. Breeze on his ETC, and Smexy is rocking the Uther.
And on the other side, it is currently our second place champions from Katowice. It is myInsanity, and it is Blumby playing that Johanna. Hasselhoff's on Lunara. Splendor is on Rhaegar. Darkmok bringing out the Illidan, and Nurok is on the Tassadar.
Yeah, Nurok these days is the player that always has to play Tassadar for them. He's not too happy about it. He at some point apparently mentioned towards the team that they should still stick with these double supports. And he was like, well, guys, if we need a Tassadar, I can do it. Ever since then, exactly, big mistake right there. Ever since then, he says he's always stuck on that Tassadar. He loves to play a lot of other heroes, of course, as well. But if his team needs him, he will jump on that second support.
Yeah, and it has worked out for them pretty well in the past, so whether he's too happy about it or not, it is working quite well for them. So we're starting off at level 1 here. Fairly standard talents for everyone. We're seeing once again that perfect aim coming in. Johanna just going to be clearing out some minions. Both teams going for the 5-man group up. Breeze lands a good stun onto Johanna, but she's a bit too tanky this early in the game to take down.
Yeah, one of the things, of course, that in the later stages myInsanity has to definitely watch out for is that mosh pit. ETC sliding in and then Uther with the Divine Shield enabling him. That's going to be great. That Divine Shield, of course, could also be a huge asset for Greymane if Quacknix decides to go for the kill. And we have seen some incredible decision-making by Quacknix yesterday, especially in that last game against Na'Vi on Dragonshire with that Dehaka pick that led to their victory then after all. So right now, this is one of the key players, of course, for Fnatic. Quacknix definitely the leader of the team.
Yeah, Quacknix very, very strong on the Greymane and very, very strong in his commands, basically. Although maybe not as loud as some of the other players on his team with those commands. There is the first blood there by Fnatic, picking off that Lunara with the nice stun from the ETC into the Gravity Lax from Shrimpy.
Yeah, and we could immediately hear the team screaming on top of their lungs. And they've been talking in an interview that I did with them a bit about how this is actually one of the things that they are actively using in this tournament. I mean, overall, we're seeing Breeze, of course, being very vocal and Shrimpy as well, but how close the players are here, this has a psychological effect on the opponent's team, and it has come to a little bit of a shout meta that we have here. You always try to put your loudest player towards the end of the queue where they're sitting because that's the closest to the opponent's team. Dignitas apparently has countered that by just sitting Mane on the opposite side.
Yeah, Mane doesn't care.
He doesn't care, he's just shouting back. So it's like, yeah, they kind of countered us here. So it's of course a little bit of fun, but at the same time it's also quite serious. If you lose suddenly 2 heroes and your opponent has all the momentum going for them and all that energy, that can really mess with your head.
Yeah, it isn't just for the enemy team, it is for your team. It keeps up the excitement, it keeps up the hype, and that keeps the adrenaline pumping for the players, which can help them just focus on the game.
Actually, I can't express how excited I am about this series. I mean, this is a crazy match that we're seeing right now. The players in the interviews have already said earlier that they feel this series can go either way. Everything can happen here, ranging from a 3-0 for one team to a 3-2. This is absolutely crazy because these two teams are so strong. They have a few weaknesses on both sides, but overall, they are very much on eye level. This is what everybody is expecting here right now, and it's going to be a great match. Talking about builds, on the other hand, for just a moment, we have for Illidan on level 1. He didn't go into the Battered Assault. They want to have the extra wave clear on this map. He went into Immolation instead.
Yeah, and the wave clear on this map is pretty useful. He did go for the standard friend or foe on level 4, so he does have that escape. And Tastar going to be giving him some sustain with that wonderful talent, the Leeching Plasma, that works so well with Illidan.
So far, Ethereal, by the way, at the bot lane, he's up against Illidan, you just mentioned. He's doing pretty well here, getting, of course, his stacks together. Keep in mind that this is also a map where myInsanity could have pulled out that Carrigan. They've done it in the past, yeah, and it's actually one of the heroes that especially Darkmook wanted to play just recently. They decided against it in one of the qualifiers. And mentioning the qualifiers, we saw these two teams clash against each other in one of the qualifiers for DreamHack Tour, and back then, Fnatic won the series with a 2-0, forcing myInsanity once again into the third qualifier, which, to be honest, is a situation that they are by now quite familiar with.
Yeah, it's a theme for them, just dropping to the last qualifier or just dropping into lower brackets in online cups and then coming to offline cups and just cleaning house. It definitely seems to work quite well for them. And right now, though, they are keeping up in XP, exactly the same as Fnatic. Both these teams just working away at each other for now, because only 1 kill in the game on the side of Fnatic so far.
Now, a big power spike for myInsanity is going to hit when they hit level 7, just because that Hassada will be able to pick up his level 7 talent, Color's Embrace, and then finally feeling in a position where he can pre-shield the heroes, which is going to help quite a bit to keep that team alive. So it's a very important level for myInsanity to have. Illidan, of course, as the game continues, is also one of the heroes that is going to pick up quite a bit of momentum and get just stronger as the game progresses. And that is something that myInsanity is back in their hopes on. But for now, they are once again in a little bit of trouble as we see Quacknix explode onto Bloomby, but with the Iron Skin, the heavy tank for myInsanity is able to get out of the head.
Yeah, Bloomby backing out, and Fnatic have been going quite aggressive onto these heroes and now have their level 7s about the same time as myInsanity, so they're able to keep control. Darkmook, though, starting to run into quite a few heroes, but they're going to try and turn it around. On to Shrimpy. In comes the Pharaoh to try and give Shrimpy a chance, but Shrimpy goes down. But in comes Quacknix to try and turn it around. They're trying to get Bloomby here. Iron Skin and the shield from Tastar have been popped, and Bloomby will get out.
Bloomby gets out thanks to Tastar, just barely able to escape. Kel'Thas, the first kill in the game. Not really a lot of gems lost, though, because the rest of the team was immediately there. Now it's level 7 versus 7, and myInsanity, they want to go for that oh-so important first Web Weaver wave, completing the objective, and they get exactly that. myInsanity taking the lead, taking the initiative, and Fnatic now is forced to defend.
Yeah, they are forced to defend. They are ever so slightly behind in XP, and this Web Weaver wave, if it is treated efficiently by myInsanity, they could extend their lead even further, and that's going to be huge for them, as map control is something myInsanity are quite good at. So right now we are seeing the 1-3-1 split for them, and very similar for Fnatic, but Fnatic putting a huge amount of focus in the top lane now, and myInsanity roaming to react to that.
myInsanity is, of course, going to bank a lot of their hopes in this scenario, then also on Lunara, who with that Nature's Culling can just do a whole lot of damage against structure, so they're trying to really make sure that she gets all that value that the team needs right now, creating some space for her. And one of the talents that we're also seeing now in level 7, which is going to be very important later on, is that cleanse on Rhaegar. Splendor will have to use that to make sure that especially Chen with that potential Wandering Keg is not going to get too much value out of it, can't isolate one of their heroes and take him down. And Fnatic, they're still defending, but you can really tell that with all of these towers being eliminated, we are now seeing myInsanity in a slight lead in experience and heading towards that oh so important level 10.
Yeah, but Fnatic all roaming down together. They wanted to try and catch someone of myInsanity while they were still pushing that bot lane, but myInsanity pulling back too quickly. They're not going to get caught out. They don't want to throw away that advantage they just got, so they're going to play a bit safer, but they do need to start playing a bit more aggressive if they want to stop the turn-in, and they don't do it in time. Breeze getting in a huge amount of gems, and that is going to be the first turn-in for Fnatic.
An extremely important turn-in for them now. Of course, that level 10 is a bit of a problem, since myInsanity will most likely have the heroic ability in time to defend against the Web Weavers. But we should still see Fnatic with an opportunity to gain some experience here and maybe like push 1 or 2 towers down, which would help them to just like catch up a little bit. And this is exactly the type of game that they have to play right now. There's the level 10s, and we are seeing immediately Metamorphosis chosen, of course, the Ancestral Healing. We have the Thornwood Mines, Blessed Shield on Johanna, and Tacita with the Force Wall.
Yeah, that Blessed Shield going to be very useful against this ETC. There's the stun onto Illidan, though, using that Metamorphosis just in time before Breeze came in to try and stun him out, and he is able to get out.
Not a moment too soon there. 1 second later, and ETC would have been able to chain the stun, but still no level 10 for Fnatic. They are playing this a bit passive, but they're of course trying to protect the Web Weavers. Now they have the heroic up, and we see the Wandering Keg as expected. We're having Divine Shield go for the throat, Mosh Pit, and Phoenix for Shrimpy's Kel'Thas already chosen. And the team's actually pretty even in experience, but still that lead for myInsanity they were able to establish with the first Web Weaver wave.
Yeah, myInsanity keeping a little bit ahead right now. A lot of focus onto Tacita, and he doesn't even get a chance to use Dimensional Shift. He gets focused down the Phoenix for good measure, which is able to do a little bit of damage to the towers.
It was a pretty nice chain stun that they had there with Uza, with also ETC, and then of course the Gravity Lapse on the side of Kel'Thas. There's a lot of damage that you can do where your opponent can't really deal with it. Rhaegar was not in range to use his Cleanser as Ancestral, and therefore Tacita already dead. Normally Tacita is one of those heroes that you send on a very dangerous lane alone because you bank your hopes on the Dimensional Shift, allowing him to get away. That Force Wall is another great tool for escape. In this particular scenario, it didn't work out for them, but we have still that turn-in attempt on the side of Fnatic now, who definitely have the gem count to get the second Web Weaver wave.
Yeah, and that's what they are trying to do. Darkbok, though, has found a Thero in this lower bush. A Thero just going to be backing out right now. He has that Brewmaster's Band, so he had the extra movement speed for a bit. And Fnatic getting most of their gems in. They do have enough for the full turn, and they just need to try and get Quacknix onto this point. But myInsanity, they're not having it. They are just guarding this area. They have Thornwood Vine available for continued harass. If they actually come down there, Darkbok getting stunned up, but we do see Quacknix interrupted by Blumby here.
There's a lot of poke that we see from myInsanity, and it really helps them. We have the Shield Clan Johanna, we have the Storms and Tasta. Once again, a bit of zoning happening as Darkmog is being attacked, but the Thero needs to be careful. Kel'Thas is starting to move to the top for a moment. Might try and turn it up there. Both of the teams have enough gems to go for the next Web Weaver wave, but of course they have to be really careful. They are both making sure that nobody turns in, and you don't want to be caught alone. There's Shrimpy trying to turn in, but he's a bit too late as Tacita already rotated top and is now denying the turn in once more.
Yeah, nicely done by Tacita. Once again, Darkbok not even going all in here. He's just in the back line, just dealing damage, but not in a point where he's going to force everyone from Fnatic to dive onto him and he will get caught out of position.
Keep in mind, especially for Lunara, positioning is incredibly important right now. With Chen having his barrel roll up, there's always the chance that he jumps in and takes a target. If myInsanity spreads themselves out too thin, we have great engage potential here on the side of Fnatic, and that's something that they're going to look for. Do they find an opportunity where they can maybe even use the Mosh Pit to trap 2 or 3 heroes? At the top, Tacita going up against Greymin, whereas down here we have a 4 versus 4 situation with both of the teams trying to get control over the turning point.
Yeah, and both have easily enough for the turn in. 55 gems and already 47 turned in for Fnatic, whereas myInsanity currently holding 104. A lot of those on Blumby, but we still have 20 plus on some other heroes. But there, finally, Quacknix was able to get his turn up in the top lane, and it is another set of web weavers for Fnatic, but they are currently a talent behind, but not for very long.
Uh-oh, they need to be careful of Greymane. No, they can't lose him now, not while the web weavers aren't even there yet. There comes the Phoenix used by Kalthas for Fnatic, and the web weavers are descending. The 13 talent is still missing for Fnatic, but it's not going to be missing for long. They just need a bit more experience, and they're going to hold that height. We're already seeing on the side of Illidan going for the nimble defender over the Sixth Sense, which he could have used, of course, as well. We have at the same time Lunara going into the unfair advantage. A lot of damage here on her, did not feel the need to go into the greater spell shield.
Yeah, and there isn't a huge amount of ability power burst, but it is still nice to get some of the abilities from the side of myInsanity. Kalthas bringing out the Fission Bomb this time, as opposed to the cooldown reduction that we see a lot of the time. Just wants that extra damage in this particular game.
Yeah, and that of course leads us also to believe that on level 20 we are once again going to see him with those Living Bomb talents as well. Massive Flames. But now on the other hand, if you look at the level 13 for Chen, he did give up the Relentless, did not feel the need in this setup to go for it, and instead we have him with enough to share.
I like this a lot. You're against that Lunara. Any protection for your team against that AoE damage is great, and that shield is a good counter against that ticking poison. So really like this from Chen, able to protect his team that little bit more.
Yeah, and there is definitely some control on some CC on the side of myInsanity, but it's not really that massive stun chain that you will be afraid of, especially with such a mobile hero as Chen. Right now, the fight is about to start. We have the defense is really nice. They will offend against the web. We already we have actually the same amount of experience here, but the fight is starting as they're seeing Bloomby trying to move back here, already popping his Iron Skin. Darkmock is rather low as well. They hold a lot of gems, 127, but they can't really turn them in, and that's a huge problem for myInsanity. They need to get rid of those. They risk being blown up at some point, and if that happens and they lose the gems on top of it, that would be a disaster for the team.
Yeah, nice interruption there by Breeze. He's still charging through, and the auto interrupts Bloomby here. Athero causing problems in the lower area, and Quacknix also her attacking Darkmock. He has to pop his Metamorphosis to get out of there, and dives the barrel. Now being used to get Athero out of there, but now Breeze getting focused by Lunara, able to power slide down, and everyone from Fnatic able to get out of there, but they weren't able to get the kill with that barrel that they wanted to.
But they traded cooldowns, and that's a huge part for them now, of course, as well. Illidan is on another 90-second cooldown until he has his Metamorphosis back, whereas Chen is only on another 45, so that's big for them. But myInsanity, of course, using that disengage for Fnatic to just move in, turn their gems in, and get a web weaver wave of their own.
Yeah, and right now though, XP on fairly even numbers, but myInsanity once again probably going to use these web weavers to give themselves a little advantage here. Darkmock just chasing back Athero here, just being as scary as possible, while myInsanity await for the web weavers to arrive, which has just happened, putting a lot of pressure onto this mid lane.
Yeah, mid lane is being attacked here first, but at the bot lane we also see Tacita helping out Illidan. Once again, a bit of an engage. Nice heal on Bloomby as Quacknix was ready to collapse on the warrior, but Bloomby gets healed. Ancestral is out though, and there's still quite a few of the rogue abilities that are ready for Fnatic. They have not used Mosh Pit yet. It's always a great tool to hold back to also make sure that myInsanity is not using all of their cooldowns.
Yes, they really need to keep everything up for the moment, just in case that Mosh Pit does land. So myInsanity are just staying away from this as well. They're roaming between the lanes, getting as far ahead with this Web Weaver wave as they can. They're currently about to hit their level 16 talent. Blessed Shield lands on a lot of heroes. Swimpy getting focused here, but the cleanse keeps him alive. But now it is Breeze in a tough position. He drops the Mosh Pit, gets 3 heroes here. Lunara doing a lot of damage from the side, but they're able to take down the Illidan here.
That's exactly what they needed. Quacknix getting out of there.
Nice
Once again, we
barrel.
have seen the barrel trying to get them away for now. They're isolating Rhaegar. They're going for him. 20 gems on him. Breeze needs to be careful. He's low. Hazobs tries to go in for the kill, and there's the stun against Rhaegar. The shield is saving him for now, though. What a save, but there is the Phoenix of Shrimpy. Athero jumping in, and after Illidan, they take down Rhaegar as well.
Now they're not done. They're trying to get Johanna as well. She gets locked down. She's so tanky, but against 4 heroes, she does go down. And Fnatic able to take 3 kills here and take control of these gems, make sure that they're not re-picked up by myInsanity.
A ton of these gems were all of a sudden lost, and that's a great move here for Fnatic. They not only have now level 16 as well, but we're seeing them in a situation where they took a lot of the gems away from myInsanity, and that fight coordination was exceptional. First of all, Breeze in a lot of trouble. It was a bit of a panic mosh to a certain extent here. He felt that he could get away. All of a sudden, he was surrounded again as Illidan jumps in, sees an opportunity, goes for the mosh, and they drop drop the one hero that they need to kill. They take down Illidan. And then a great coordinated attack against Rhaegar. With Quacknix, by the way, still getting out of that. It was very close.
Yeah, he was very nearly taken down, and that was not a great timing fight there for Fnatic due to the fact that myInsanity had just hit 16, and that Mosh, the perfect choke point, allowing them to get ahead in XP. So Fnatic actually leading the charge at the moment. However, their web weaver's getting cleared up quite quickly, but with the amount of pressure they get on mid lane, they will at minimum get the fort out of this, and they can still, after this, rotate to bot lane.
Illidan currently the top damage dealer on the team. Nice Ancestral again to save Blumby. Athero going once more for the barrel. This time more for disengage than anything else, but at the bot lane, that web weaver is still going for the fort. Level 16 talents now also gave us the Blades of Azeroth on the side of Illidan, who now has that stacking talent, whereas you can increase your damage by 75% for 8 seconds once you get those stacks together. The fight at the bot lane is going to showcase exactly that. Darkmoor has to be very careful though. Ancestral is already on cooldown.
And they're not going to have that heal for a while now. Breeze pushing back through. There's a dimensional shift from Tassadar, keeping himself alive. Illidan trying to push through, gets stunned out by Kael'thas, but Smexy has been caught alone here. He goes down. Schwimpy has also been zoned out. He's getting chased. Uther trying to heal him up in his ghost form, but the poison is too good. Schwimpy trying to turn it around onto Rhaegar here and try and get the kill, but he does go down, dropping Rhaegar super low though.
Yeah, 2 heroes are now dead for Fnatic, and that's Niche. That was exactly the fight that myInsanity needed. Breeze was aiming for another mosh pit, but he got interrupted right away, so that was a huge problem for them. myInsanity with a good and coordinated fight, and they are looking for a boss now at the top. We already have Lunara, of course, for them, and with that Nature's Calling, she's going to drop incredible damage here.
Yeah, the boss dropping so quickly here, and no one is coming to contest this for Fnatic, not taking that risk. Barrel is up, but against the Iron Skin, it would not matter, so they're just letting this go. And myInsanity will take the boss here, and with the fort down in this top lane, that's going to be going straight onto the tier 2s.
I really like the decision on the side of Fnatic, though, to go to the bot lane and claim the Siege Giants. They, of course, predicted already that boss would be the first target for myInsanity. The mid lane was already heavily pushed, also thanks to the Siege Giant that we see here. So they had very little choice of what to do. You can't really push the mid lane further in. If you do that, you open yourself up for a gank, and at the bot lane, there was at least another keep they could take. So they made the best out of a bad situation, and now all up at the top to defend.
Yeah, they're going to clear this boss out very quickly. It only gets 1 and a bit towers out of this. That tower getting a lot of health down. And they do send myInsanity back to their base to start defending here, and this web weaver spawns a lot further back than it would have otherwise.
A really important part with that particular boss defense was that 2 of the heroes were missing because they needed to go into the middle to make sure that the wall would not fall at the keep, and that was crucial for myInsanity. So they didn't really have that power at the top lane that they needed to get more damage out of the boss. We have those web weavers now coming in though. Quacknix dealing with the top lane, the rest of the team is already using the poke in the middle, especially Kael'thas once more with the Phoenix, trying to zone myInsanity, who are poking from a distance with that Lunara. Hazov's very cautious here that he doesn't get caught.
Yeah, a lot of members of Fnatic just grabbing the fountain there in case they get hit by more of that poison. That ticking heal from the fountain will help them here. myInsanity, though, all rotating down to the bot lane to help with their last remaining web weaver. Fnatic hang around, but they can't really do much here because myInsanity are about to hit level 20. So all Fnatic can do is really hang around and survive, and there are those level 20s.
The level 20s are finally there. Galloping Gate once again being used. We have the Demonic Form Rewind as well. And myInsanity is trying to go for the keep, but Fnatic is sticking very close to it, trying to defend here for as long as they can. All the web weavers have been defended against, but we have myInsanity attempting to push the advantage that they have. Keep that keg in mind though, and there it is, trying to go for it, and misses him though, and he uses Friend of Foe to dash away. The keep is gone. Quacknix needs to be careful, but Johanna whiffing the Blessed Shield stun.
Yeah, now she's getting focused. She has Indestructible though, so we won't see Fnatic chase too much here. In fact, Wimpy getting hit by the totem, so he has to pull back as quick as he can, which was not very quick due to the totem. But Fnatic, they do lose the keep, but they held out surprisingly well considering they didn't have their level 20s there. Now they're just trying to stay in their base and soak for level 20, whereas myInsanity just will continue to siege.
And those level 20s are going to be pretty brutal. Of course, at this point, we would expect Master of Flames taken on the side of Kael'thas, but even with Arcane Power, the damage that you get out of it would be incredible. They're trying to Blade safe for now, as you already mentioned, but myInsanity, they have an advantage. They know about that, and they're attempting to make the best of it. They're starting to move in again. A good force wall isolating Breeze and Athero, but with the 2 tanks, you don't really have a good chance to take him down. Darkmock at the edge just waiting for an opportunity to maybe jump in and jump the backline.
Yeah, he's in this demon form permanently now, so he's going to be able to get that extra attack speed bonus that he gets from that metamorphosis. So for now, he is just hanging around looking for his opportunity to engage, whereas Breeze staying mounted. He needs to be able to disengage for his team or turn around the fight as quick as possible. But there is 20 for Fnatic, and immediately myInsanity pull back and Fnatic move out of their base.
Fnatic do exactly, or myInsanity does exactly what they have to do right now. Fnatic played it safe, they did not get baited here, and now we are seeing Redemption taken. We have the Hunter's Blunderbuss, Bolt of the Storm for ETC, which of course makes the engage really scary. And interesting enough, we have Rebirth on the Phoenix take, and I'm liking it. We actually talked about this during the first day quite a bit. In this case, he's going for it, and that is actually going to be pretty cool. Yeah. So it's one of those things that Fnatic occasionally pulls out, where they just use like a build that the opponent might not expect. And on this map, you can get great value out of it.
Yeah, if you can keep the fight in a certain area, that 100% bonus to the duration of the Phoenix can just allow so much damage to be dropped out, and you can reposition it even if your enemy does start to retreat. And with a Thero, with that barrel, he can really control where the enemies are positioned. And if you use it on Mosh, once again, really effective.
It's just an amazing zoning tool that you have as well. And this is one of those maps where if you have a lot of fights happening or towards those turn-in spots, there's a lot of very small corridors. If you have double the duration on the Phoenix, this is just an amazing tool to take a fight here. So definitely one of those things where they just feel on this map they get a lot of value out of it. It's a nice adjustment that they make. Gem-wise, 90 gems on the side of Fnatic. Once again, the Tassadar, but already both of the tanks jumping away. Smexy needs to be careful. It was a bit far out here on his Uther, and Bloom is trying to go for him. At the same time, Quacknix is retreating. Darkmock is going for it. Here comes the barrel, getting Rhaegar away. There's no Ancestral at this point. Darkmock is on the run, seems to be able to get away, and Rhaegar is now joining up with myInsanity once again.
A Thero a bit out of position, getting focused out, uses Bolt to escape. In comes the Mosh Pit. Divine Shield is used, but Illidan was cleansed out of that Breeze, using his Bolt and getting back into the rest of his team. But myInsanity, they're not dropping the chase. The damage is huge from Lunara. Schwimpy gets destroyed here. Quacknix will die too. He tries to turn it around with the help of Smexy to try and get anyone, but they get nothing. And Fnatic lose 3 members here.
Fnatic lose 3 members, and myInsanity is heading for the core now. That definitely did not go Fnatic's way. They dropped a lot of cooldowns. He got very little value out of it. ETC with the Mosh Pit only hitting the tank, and already Athero so low that he could not participate in the fight anymore. The damage just wasn't there at this point, and here we have a desperate defense for Fnatic, but it's already too late. myInsanity, they are about to say game number 1, and this is it. GG, ladies and gentlemen, as myInsanity takes game number 1 in the best of 5 semifinals.
Very nicely done by myInsanity there, taking that last fight exceptionally well. The cleanse on Illidan to get him out of that mosh was exceptional, and then the huge chase coming out from that Lunara, just so much damage on everyone there.
They just didn't have that damage follow-up anymore, and of course the idea was really to burst Illidan down while Chen kicks Rhaegar away, and the thought process behind it was brilliant. The problem was really that the damage in this case was really missing. They had not enough on-point damage. The lockdown was just missing at that point. Uther, of course, would have maybe had a chance to go for an additional stun here. Rhaegar came back, had the Ancestral up and everything else, and at this point Illidan is just reigning supreme in the team fight, chasing them down. And as already talked about earlier, if you have that Lunara in the backline while Illidan and the rest of the team are creating space, Hazobs could just right-click whoever he wanted to, and that damage output on his side is insane.
Yeah, he managed to get 84,000 hero damage. The only hero to top him was Kael'thas, which is not too surprising, especially seeing as how Schwimpy built it. But even with that damage that Schwimpy was able to drop out, Lunara's damage was just able to burst everyone down that little bit quicker, thanks to the chase potential that Illidan actually offered them.
Yeah, but once again, like looking at this game, we had a 22-minute game now in Tomb of the Spider Queen, our first map, and we have 6 kills on both sides with level 20 versus level 21. And in that last fight, I mean, if the coordination for Fnatic is a little bit better and they get that kill against Illidan while we have that barrel against Rhaegar, then all of a sudden the fight turns around in their favor, and this is what they're looking for here. So this is basically, so far at least, exactly what we expected from the series.
Yes, anything that could have, so many things could have gone a little bit better for Fnatic to change that fight completely. More people in the mosh, for example, like you said, the barrel hitting perfectly. So many things could have gone perfectly for them to change that, but unfortunately, myInsanity able to take it and just burst them down, really.
Yeah, and guys, with this, of course, we're going to head into a quick break. And when we're back, we have game number 2 starting here at the semi-final between myInsanity and Fnatic. Currently, myInsanity in the lead with 1 map, but Fnatic has shown on map number 1 already, of course, that they are here to win, and they will do their best to make it a tie after the second map. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Where am I?
This agent is extremely dangerous. Neutralize her. Go, go, go! Kaboom, baby! My life for ire. StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void. Play it now. No previous expansions required.
StarCraft 2. For a limited time, buy Legacy of the Void and get Heart of the Swarm free. No previous expansions required.
So, one day I wake up to find that me and my friends are lost. Again! No one said it was your fault, Olaf. But if there's one thing we're good at, it's... getting lost? No, Baylog, we're good at... Now what? Listen, I'm trying to say that if we stick together, there's no obstacle. Oh no! Back up! Oh no! Like I was saying, if we work as a team, the 3 of us, we can accomplish anything. Don't mess with the Vikings. That's right.
Oh, Eric, I gotta go, Ramona. Please.
Now? Couldn't you have gone before we left?
Oh.
Many believe magic has maintained order in Quel'Thalas. My bow would say otherwise. 1 shot, 1 kill. This is how I preserve our realm. I am Illyria Windrunner. If you stand against me, you're just another target. And I never miss my mark.
For years, our world has been at peace. But something is coming. I can feel it. Dark forces are upon us.
Find these beasts, or whatever they are.
Our world is dying. There is nothing to go back to. If our people are to survive, we must make a home here. Whatever happens.
Whatever happens. If we do not unite, our world will perish.
This doesn't need to happen. There is one who may help us.
For orcs, there is no other life but war. No, but with the humans' help, there could be.
Why are you here?
To save our people.
Can we trust him?
They're beasts. They should all be destroyed.
Are you sure about that?
We'll protect the kingdom. You and I.
You side with the humans against your own kind.
This is suicide.
We have no choice. We should attack with full force.
Whatever you plan to do it now!
Welcome back, everybody, to the semifinals between Fnatic and myInsanity. Well, we've just witnessed Illidan. He came, he saw, he carried. Jokes aside, though, take us through and analyze a little bit why myInsanity was playing really, really well in this series, in this first game.
I feel like a lot of it came down to they were able to open up the map relatively quickly, and that was a really big selling point to the Illidan, and then also pairing it kind of with the Lunara allowed both of them to be a very large threat and both very difficult to deal with. In any situation where the Illidan was not completely single target isolated through the Kel'Thas, he pretty much just danced all over them for the most part. So,
yeah, one time we had a 6-second lockdown on Illidan with some stunts into a mosh pit, and that's actually where he cannot turn on evasion, and where Greymane is actually effective against him. But in the other times, Greymane was actually counter-drafted against Illidan, counter-drafted, but I feel like it was more of a comfort pick for Fnatic because they need him because you know, Quacknix needs to play on him. But Greymane is not the best against Illidan because he's predominantly auto-attack focused. Anytime he can turn on evasion. Darkmark, he was playing amazing on Illidan. So, like, very hard to lock him down. Generally, it's mages and stun effects, not regular auto attacks that take him down. So that was just, it was flawlessly, well, it was really well played by myInsanity. And Fnatic didn't have an answer, neither through their draft or through the excellence of their play.
It looked like Fnatic had, in the middle of the game, they had a really good moment, as you mentioned, with that Mosh Pit and Divine Shield combo in a choke point, where they finally managed to wear Illidan down. But as Dredd mentioned during the game, it's not going to happen very often that you have the ideal perfect scenario in order to execute that maneuver. So Illidan has been dominating. I mean, we also saw Shen using the Wandering Keck to isolate him from his support, but that also didn't really work out the way it should, right?
it's kind of the same situation when facing a Murden Toronto style composition. It's like there are a lot of answers to single target isolation as stun lock and burst. It's just the problem with that typically is that the cooldowns are so short, it's going to constantly be happening to where the response is almost never going to be flawless. Illidan provides that threat constantly. The major cooldowns to be a response have to be in a perfect situation multiple times. His threat consistency is so frequent that usually he's going to be the one who wins it out.
Beautiful explanation. Whenever you have Illidan, there's every second there's a threat, but if the cooldown, if the only counter is a heroic, you have an answer every 70 to 80 seconds.
I mean, it's not even just like this one heroic. It's literally like pairing the heroic with another one on top, like, and it's like stacking all of them to where it's just the threat is too constant.
So it worked once, and then the other times it didn't.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to go back to the old pattern and banning Illidan out, especially on Sky Temple, which is going to be the second battleground in this series, by the way. Also, someone I wanted to mention was the Lunara. We've mentioned her impact because of Illidan drawing so much attention on himself. Were you impressed by how well they spread that damage over time? And do you think that Uther might have not been the right support to deal with it?
I mean, they took Uther as a second pick before Lunara was shown. We saw myInsanity open with Johanna Tassadar, who are the most neutral picks, and we were mentioning Johanna's prioritization is not so high that you will take her in your first pick. So they're hiding something, and it was very nice to see that they were thinking along the same lines with Lunara and Illidan coming out there after Uther is already picked. So it's not so much that Uther is a wrong choice, as that he was countered by Lunara.
Do you think so as well?
I mean, I agree. Yeah, it's a situation too because typically you don't run two mainstream full supports, especially into an Illidan. But then you're like, well, okay, you can get like a pseudo support, but that would have been Tassadar or Tyrande. Tyrande struggles into Illidan because you're never going to hit a Lunar Flare without a setup beforehand onto an Illidan. And then you're going to be with Tassadar, we've talked about this before, you don't really provide much when it comes to the kill potential to him, so both of them are very poor. So you pick the Uther early, they pick the Lunara after, you have zero responses when Tassadar's banned out, and Tyrande doesn't make sense.
Beautiful explanation.
Very much so. And now you see how much having Illidan as a very strong weapon influences the entire draft.
Yeah.
You can say, okay, we'll ban Illidan now. And then what? How can you make a draft that's good against Illidan, Vikings, Cho'Gall, and Standard? So at some point, you've got to make some decisions.
Yeah, and I think a decision here for Fnatic to make is definitely to ban that Illidan away, since I'm also not sure if they can play Illidan themselves. They haven't really done it in the past, have they?
I think they can. I don't think they've done it consistently. I would have to look a little bit in my notes to see whether or not they've done it at all during the qualifiers. But I think Thero Angel, I believe, can play the Illidan. I think he does decent on those type of heroes, so I wouldn't be surprised. I don't feel like I would feel comfortable saying they can't play it.
Yeah, plus, oftentimes when there's a team who has a certain mastery of a hero, like Illidan or Vikings, you also kind of get better at knowing how he is to be countered.
Yeah. Right. And that is another strength for myInsanity. You mentioned it, Grubby, the countering aspect. By having a large hero flexibility, they're probably also going to have a large knowledge about how to counter these exact heroes.
Yeah.
So let's actually, without further ado, drive right into the second draft screen. On Sky Temple, as we mentioned, it is a little bit of a larger map, so there is potentially even more threat for an Illidan pick if they don't ban it. As Dredd mentioned earlier, Illidan not really that common of a sight on smaller maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen, but on Sky Temple, it is a very realistic threat. First ban goes to myInsanity.
I think Dahaka is going to be a really hot topic when it comes to this map. I really think that both teams are going to be finding it appealing. I actually love this ban. It already puts Quacknix in a rough position.
Okay, so Quacknix, his second favorite is Greymane.
Yes.
I think myInsanity is fine with that.
Yes.
Illidan ban,
There
as
we
you
go.
alluded to, Kendrick. And also when you ban Falstad, you open up Vikings. Something that we didn't see on the previous Sky Temple game. I think we should not beat on that dead horse anymore. But when you open Falstad, Vikings remains a possibility, which is like a little footnote for Fnatic.
I am very surprised with the Li Ming open.
Me too.
It looks like Team
myInsanity. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Dahaka is now going over. And there are a couple other options. Are we going to see more of a... I guess we won't see any kind of melees. It'll probably be a double tank style here. Kel'Thas, not surprised there. Really great stun lock. I'm surprised to see that from myInsanity. The Li Ming is not something they've already prioritized.
I'm giving them so much credit right now because I'm kind of becoming like a super fan of myInsanity here. Is that Li Ming pick, maybe it's like related in some way to what's coming?
Yeah, no, you're very much right. They think about their drafts obviously very, very thoroughly. So it's not that I've kind of lost faith. It just does seem surprising because I wouldn't consider it just objectively one of the most
contested picks on this map or in general.
Of course, we now see best buddies for life, Tassadar and Sonya being locked in. Of course, Darkmog also feels very comfortable on his Barbarian, the Sonya. Now, something to ban away for them that would work really well could be potentially an Uther. There we go, we have it.
Yeah, it was a pretty heads-up ban. From Fnatic, what is going to be the response ban here? Are they going to be worried about a pairing with any form of tank here? I don't think that's going to be the case. myInsanity, I think I'd be worried a little bit more about their backline options. A double tank is what you can kind of expect for Fnatic, so removing...
It'll be funny if they remove Greymane. Again, I don't think they fear it, but it'll be funny because his third hero is Sonya for Quacknix on Fnatic, so that will be like 3 heroes missing.
I would let them have Greymane. I have not been impressed with his showing at all in these tournaments. Not to take away from the players at all. That is not the players. It's just the hero with the adjustments that have happened to him before this tournament. I just don't feel like he has very much of a place.
We've also heard that there's quite a little bit of a debate going on amongst the players themselves, what they should pick at what level.
They did.
There we go. They're taking out Quacknix hard.
I said it would be funny. Haha.
Oh man, but Fnatic now, they do have a lot of stun lock. I don't know if Tyrande is something they're going to want as well in this type of situation. The backlining here, Zagara is something that they could kind of go to. Murden, double tanks, not surprising when you have Dahaka. He traditionally isn't ran as a solo. It provides more CC. Right now, they can pretty much just one-shot anybody that they get their hands on at this point with the draft of Fnatic.
Okay, so talking about Fnatic's role isolation here, they're removing Uther from the draft. They're picking Rhaegar. Tassadar doesn't mind too much to be paired up with Kharazim. It's not as much a match made in heaven.
I would love to see a Brightwing, to be honest. I think a Brightwing could add a lot of value on this map, and we haven't seen her at all.
Yeah.
Except Cleanse is legitimately absolutely needed, right? And that makes me fearful. Brightwing is you don't pick Brightwing without going.
You don't want to
for
give up the shield, right?
So that rules out Tyrande as well, and that does lead to Kharazim. And if you're saying Divine Palm, you know, in random games there'll be the risk of overlapping Divine Palm with Tassadar shields, make it not go off. But I expect better from this team.
I think that will be probably going to be an ETC as the last pick for myInsanity here. I don't think maybe Tyrael, some Johanna instead. All right, so pairing that with maybe a Leap here with a more hyper engage style play.
possible.
That is something we've seen once throughout this tournament. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen it more.
Not sure if you want to do that against the Haka Muradin.
I agree with you, it seems, but at the same time, the argument could be just kill Kel'Thas. He's very vulnerable to that style of play. They have the stun lock. We'll just be the ones who hyper-engage on you.
If you kill one, you get a Li Ming reset. So
you do.
Li Ming didn't make sense. Would it make sense with Leap and Falling Sword? Certainly a lot more. So that's really interesting to look at later if that's going to happen. Bloomby from myInsanity has been playing just amazingly on Johanna this tournament.
I agree with you. His JoJo play has been he survived barely in so many situations in the last game.
Yeah.
He's provided a lot to his team here. Last pick for Fnatic here. They have both the tanks. They have a lot of isolation here. I don't want to see them go with another melee. I really want to see them avoid that, but I don't think they're going to go Sylvanas. I think it's an option.
Options, Sylvanas, Zagara, Vala, and Thrall, and Zul. These, I think, are the 5 options.
I think Zul, Thrall are not going to be a go-to. I'm never really kind of a fan of Vala in these type of situations, but Sylv at the same time isn't uber selling, especially against maybe the hyper engage that they're going to see. So they do go into the Vala. This puts them. I want to see. If they do go with the double hyper engage with the Falling Sword Leap, I want to see a spell shield out of here. The reason I really am fearful of Vala is just because she's just gonna die, right? So one of the things
I'd be afraid of that too.
One of the reasons actually people question kind of why does Uther have the value that he has in a lot of situations where you almost don't get as much value out of D-Shield in some situations as you do Rhaegar, is because if you pick a composition with absurdly low health pools, Ancestral becomes almost unrealistic to rely on. Vala is one of the few heroes in the game that her health pool is so low that Ancestral becomes, you have to throw it legitimately at 75% HP.
Yeah.
And they just stop damaging her, and then you go, well, that Ancestral's down, or you just one-shot her in that amount of time. So it's going to be scary if they do go with that absurd engage. At the same time, Rain of Vengeance could be a response as a counter-engage, and that would hurt against that melee-centric composition.
Absolutely. If you jump in with a Falling Sword, potentially leap combo, then you drop the Rain of Vengeance, great disengage, cool. Vala has seen a variety of build ever since the hero exists. What do you think can we expect in terms of builds?
I mean, she's going up against double warrior, not the tankiest, so it takes a little bit of wind out of the sails of a potential giant killer build. I think we could see some crowd control. I'm expecting maybe composite arrows at level 1 and frost shot at level 13 if we don't see Falling Sword Leap, where a spell shield would go up in value.
Yeah, I think spell shield would be a must in that situation. If not, I think frost shots will gain an absurd amount of value against the melees that she's going to see in these
slow down Sonya's movement speed.
Right.
But I still think we can see Wrath of the Berserker and standard Blessed Shield and just kind of let Li Ming poke, I suppose.
That could be an option. I agree with you.
You're really feeling the all-in here, huh?
Looking at these compositions again, so we have, what is it? It's going to be Li Ming, Taz Sonya, and Karzim Johanna. There's not very much engage, and I always am fearful of compositions that lack engage, because even when you have the upper hand, you almost never can capitalize. So it's one of those situations to where I actually kind of like it. That's why Johanna isn't necessarily one of the greatest picks, especially in maps where she doesn't gain advantage through wave clear. It's because when all you have is a Blessed Shield, which, let's be honest, is a little less impactful than a majority of the engages from ETC. God tier engage. Burden, God tier engage. Then Johanna, only very much so for the wave clear. So it makes me fearful, even if you ruin your opponents, if you can't gain more, it doesn't really matter.
All right, we're going to take a look at how both of these team compositions will work on Sky Temple. For now, let's switch it over to our casters. Tetcher and Calder, take us to Sky Temple.
Thank you very much, Kendrick. And we are excited here, Caldor. Game number 2. And both of these teams, for one of the first times, have actually really spread out the drafts this time.
Yeah, I really like the draft, and there's a lot of what the analysts already went over. The one thing that I find really cool to see is that we have now Vala being picked by Quacknix, because it's one of the heroes that he actually scrimmed with quite a bit, and this was always one of the go-to heroes even before Greymane has seen that change. In this case, of course, Greymane even banned out because myInsanity simply said, hey, this guy is so good in the Greymane, it's one of his comfort zone. Quacknix is always one of the players where a lot of teams are saying he has a very small hero pool with which he can carry, so they were trying to limit that a little bit. But I'm very curious to see how much of an impact he can now have with Vala, which he actually played to a great extent too.
Yeah, so they have that Valor damage. They also were able to get their hands on not only some global in the form of Dahaka, they also got that Kale Pass for the second game in a row.
I talked also with Cognix actually a little bit yesterday, and he said that he personally, when he hears things like people saying he has a bit of a smaller hero pool, he says that he sees it a bit differently. He has like 2 to 3 heroes where he can completely carry the team, where he has the most impact of the team in the entire on the game and the way that it goes. But with all the other heroes that he plays that are still in his pool, he's just solid, but he doesn't even doesn't have that leading role anymore, and someone else has to take over for that. I feel that was a very, very nice way of putting it, actually.
Yeah.
And it just showcases, again, how strong this player is. Quacknix is one of the best assassins that we have in Europe, and he has been showcasing that not only here in Leicester, but also in previous tournaments.
Yeah, he has just been incredibly effective. But guys, we are loading into the Sky Temple, and let's have a look at the team, starting with Fnatic on the left-hand side, with Kael'thas being played by Shwimpy, Dahaka being played by Athera Angel, Valor being played by Quacknix, Muradin being played by Breeze, and Rhaegar being played by Smexy.
myInsanity, on the other hand, they are in the lead in the best of 5 now. Johanna again for Bloomby. We have Li Ming, played by Hazobs, Karazim, played by Splendor, Darkmog is on Sonya now, and we have Norok playing once again Tacita.
I doubt doesn't matter how he feels about it, it works out super well for them. I'm sure he's happier that he's winning than annoyed that he has to play Tacita here.
Yeah, that's exactly true. I mean, in this case, of course, he would prefer to have a bit more of an impact. Tacita is a hero that is just absolutely crucial for the builds that they are playing with these double supports, and he's going to be happy to help his team out here. The builds have already started up, and we're seeing again a block on the side of Sonya. Of course, a bit of a fight for vision, but with the global that we have on Athero Angel, there's not even a contestation by myInsanity. Instead, they're moving into the mid lane and try to put some damage on the first tower.
Yeah, they're going to put a bit of harassment on, whereas in the top lane, we are seeing Fnatic, they will take down that tower straight away. This is what we see a lot after this game changes a while ago, a lot of just grouping up to kill individual towers.
It was just basically them going for vision, and then they see the mid lane being attacked, and they're like, you know what, guys, we can do that too.
Yep, and it worked out for them. They do get the tower. And for now, though, Quacknix taking a bit of harassment there, but drops a little in exchange on Startmog. For both teams, beginning to split up into the lanes, but a lot of attention actually being put onto this top lane.
Yeah, well, at the bot lane here right now, we have Dahaka in a position where, of course, he can later on jump into the temple fights. At the top lane, as you already mentioned, we had 3 players for myInsanity grouping up and trying to get maybe an early kill. Another thing that you're always going to try and fight for is that vision. The rotations between mid and top are going to be extremely important once the temple spawn, because it's all about trying to gain vision of the opponent. And if you have a shot at attacking someone who is just claiming the temple shots for his team and is solo on the spot, then you can always gain a huge advantage in the early game already.
Yeah, and this Johanna down in the bot lane makes a lot of sense against Dahaka with the laning setup, due to the fact that both of them do have quite a bit of that wave clear. Johanna with the Night take spawn, so she's not going to have her lane pushed up too much, and Dahaka with that primal aggression. They clear waves super quick, which is, in this case, allowing Johanna to roam a bit with Tacita. Dahaka is just staying in the lane, keeping himself there to make sure he misses nothing.
Johanna Tacita were at the bot lane to clear that wave a bit faster and then rotate so that he didn't lose too much against Dahaka here. But as you can see, we have level 4 already reached by Fnatic, which is huge for them actually. And Tacita had to move back down so that he wouldn't lose out on too much of the experience. But Dahaka is now in a position where he can just use his global, go into a fight here and just appear in the bush. And that's something that at some point he's going to wait for. He also hit himself so that Tacita actually assumed he was already on the way, but that's not the case. He's still at the bot lane, still soaking experience. And that is something that myInsanity will have to react to.
Yeah, myInsanity, though, they will have to react to it, but they do currently have control of that middle temple. Top temple, though, has 100% already gone over to Fnatic. It is already finished. Looks like Fnatic finally going to give up on that mid temple. They're trying to kill Tacita here, who they were able to fight out of position. There's the stun from Kael'thas. Norok drop low, and in comes Valor. Nice heal from Splendor, though. Clutch save.
That was a really good save here on Tacita. It looked for a long time later he was dead, but I have to once again highlight how sexy Athero Angel's Dahaka play is. We've seen this yesterday. We have actually seen him play that hero quite a bit already. And the way that he toys around with the vision, the way he's always ready to jump anywhere onto the map to just get that one kill is beautiful. The opponent's team does always have to guess, where is he? Does he soak the experience somewhere? Do we have to be afraid sending a hero top lane because he's going to appear in one of those bushes and uses the drag? So he's a great player on that hero, and it makes him so scary.
Yeah, you can never be too careful around bushes when Athero Angel is in your game. And right now, when Darkmog is in your game, it looks like he just steps out of the bush just to show a bit of a threat here. and see if he can grab someone hanging around in this bot lane, which currently is in a bit of a brawl between the two Siege Giants, but myInsanity able to come out a bit ahead there. Their Siege Giants will make it towards the towers, but we will see Fnatic clear those up very quickly.
And of course, DreamHack shifted his position by now to the top lane. At the beginning of the match, you want to have him at the bot lane because the temples are spawning mid and top, but the second temple wave is a single temple at the bottom of the map, and having DreamHack at the top lane once again will allow him to also get more experience for the team, and he can also push this lane back, give more vision to the team. They have control over the watchtower now as well. They find themselves in a very good spot when it comes to map awareness and just overall map control.
Yeah, DreamHack though can't be too careful of how far he pushes up here, though. There is no fort, so it's very easy for him to overextend and get caught out by people roaming from the mid lane where the fort is still available. So he is staying quite far back, staying in the actual main lane part as opposed to pushing into the opponent's side of the map.
As we could just see, Sonya already waiting to cap the camp, so in this case they are just waiting for the shrine to be announced, and they are going to time that properly. But we already have that same camp taken up to the top lane, and this is now one of those situations where it becomes a little bit iffy for myInsanity. The camps are going to neutralize each other unless, of course, DreamHack is able to get a free shot at the camp at the top. Tassadar is now currently hiding. He wants to make sure that exactly that doesn't happen. But with all those bushes around the temple at the bottom of the map, DreamHack can at any point join the fight and turn it around against myInsanity.
Yeah, this is what we see. This is what it causes for myInsanity. We see them. They had a numbers advantage there for a little bit, but they don't want to go in because they didn't know where Fnatic were and they didn't know how quickly it would take for DreamHack to come down. So now Fnatic had time to rotate and they are taking most of the shots.
And DreamHack is currently taking down that Siege Giant camp at the top lane. They have still their own Siege Giant camp. Tassadar is just now arriving at the bottom of the map. He made the rotation, and DreamHack can turn it into a 5 versus 5 any moment now. He gets the extra experience for Fnatic. The top lane is going to push heavily thanks to the remainders of that Siege camp that they took earlier, and now they can make the decision. Do they go bot lane with DreamHack? They do, and he jumps in. He wants to go for the drag. They're looking for a Splendor. They get him. They go immediately onto Karazim. He escapes barely, and so does Hazorbs. Great move here from Fnatic, and they are about to hit their heroics.
Yeah, they don't pick up the kill, but they do take control of that temple, get the final shots, and like you said, they do grab those heroics. And in the top lane, DreamHack has cleared everything out. This Bruiser camp is going to continue pushing.
Exactly. Great play here by them and the perfect use of DreamHack. And of course, we have a lot of unknown variables. I'm not really surprised to see the strafe here of, in this case, Quacknix on his Vala. As mentioned before, I watched a lot of the scrims of Fnatic, and I've seen his Vala play. He usually tries to go for the safe option. He wants to have that strafe so that he can stay a little bit more in the back line and stay away from the opponent. And especially since we could see on the side of Sonya a leap, maybe even a falling sword, you want to be extremely careful that you don't get too close. Sonya decides to play it more traditional, and so does also Johanna, so they're not risking anything. They don't go for one of those wombo combos, massive risk plays. They played safe, but in this case, it didn't even work out for them. They lose Karazim regardless, and at the bot lane, they lost another fort. Even the structural advantage right now goes to Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic taking so much control in this map. Karazim getting deleted before he could even palm himself. He was just locked down there. DreamHack even going to drop some harassment onto Darkrock there, just pulling him into tower range. And he's just able to get that damage off for free.
It's not going to take much longer until teams on this map against Fnatic are going to just ban out DreamHack right away, since Ethereal is just a monster. And this is actually becoming a bit of an issue. If you have someone like Ethereal on a hero like DreamHack, you want to get rid of him, but then of course you have other players like Quacknix with their preferred heroes that they always try to grab. It's a very different way, or a very difficult situation that you find yourselves in these drafts. myInsanity is a team that is best suited to face these challenges because of the depth that they have in their hero pool, but you can see that they are now behind. They are still ahead in the best of 5 series, but as expected, this is a very, very close match here, Tetra.
Yeah, we all expected this to be a very interesting setup between these two teams, and Fnatic right now in control. myInsanity with the potential to bring it back here, but Fnatic is currently racing towards their level 13s. They still need to find some minions to actually soak Kael'thas. Going to clear them out quite quickly and just give them that little boost. But they still have a way to go. These temple fights will take place mostly before those talents hit.
And talking talents, we have on level 4 now for Kael'thas the Netherwind, and on level 7 he went into Gravity Crush. So you can really tell that it's one of the things that they want to do is chain their CCs, and that's going to be massive here. But for now, they need to save Smaxy. He's extremely low. Here comes the Ancestor, saving Quacknix. They're going for Blumby. The Iron Skin and the Shield are being hit, and Blumby is about to fall. There comes a great Stomble by Breeze, locks him down. Down goes Johanna, and they're trying to turn it now against Darkmock, who's trying to just whirlwind away. But just look at this damage and lockdown. down goes Sonya, and that's a 5 versus 3 for Fnatic.
Hasuov's on the run, but here comes Fnatic. There's the teleport. In comes Breeze. They've won it. The Stormbolt misses. The Gravity Lamps lands, and down goes Hasuov.
Oh, a 4-0 now in kills on the side of Fnatic. They have the level 13 talents, and we see Giant Killer used by Quacknix. This is another trademark that he uses. He picks on level 1 the composite arrow, but very rarely does he go for the synergy with the level 13 frost shot. He wants the extra damage against the tanks. He wants to make sure that he does as much damage as he possibly can and simply use the composite arrow for a range poke so that he doesn't have to go close if he doesn't feel safe.
Yeah, and DreamHack sticking with this gank style. There's not a huge amount of stuns on the side of myInsanity, so instead he takes the Ferocious Stalker, that extra 60% movement speed after he tunnels in, so he's going to be looking for that leaving, dragging him straight back into his team.
Well, if I had to describe his play on DreamHack, I would say he is a Ferocious Stalker. That guy, like he always lurks in the shadows, and he is looking for that opportunity. But the situation, of course, for myInsanity is extremely dire right now. Not only was boss taken, they defended against it, didn't get too much, but it opened the map up for them, and it allowed them to get both of these temples. And we've been mentioning the structural advantage that Fnatic has, and at this point, if you look at it, we have them with every single fort still available, whereas myInsanity is already down to their keeps.
Yeah, myInsanity though, they will grab the last couple shots from this temple. DreamHack was on his own there. The rest of his team went back for health and mana. So DreamHack not going to risk getting himself killed, instead pulls back. It's just a couple shots. He feels comfortable letting that go and has already moved up to the top lane to continue the XP soak there.
He's all over the place. Once again, Ethereal is there. Breeze, by the way, still in the vicinity, making sure that there's no flank coming in. He needs to be careful, zoning a bit. He still has his bunny up available, can go for the Dwarf Toss, and he will do so if need be. Already DreamHack moving away as well, but with the help of Breeze, there's the Dwarf Toss. He's able to get out of there, so that was actually a very smart play. They sent DreamHack top, he has the wave clear. They said Muradin at the side, so he already sees that path, and as soon as myInsanity starts to rotate over and tries to collapse on DreamHack, Muradin helps out, zones a little bit, and they get away. So very, very cautious play here on the side of Fnatic, and that's exactly what they need now. They're close to level 16, and they need to be a bit patient until they hit the next talent.
Yeah, they were able to survive through this very nicely indeed. For now, though, Fnatic just continuing to control the map. They've taken almost every mercenary. They won't get the Bruiser camp, despite DreamHack already on his way over there, just hanging around the area, getting ready to clear that out. And Fnatic will, though, steal this Siege Giant. Breeze zoning out Bloomby, but here come a lot of members of myInsanity here, and it looks like they may go for the steal anyway. The camp is taken by myInsanity. Breeze currently out of fire. The Phoenix doing a lot of damage. The Force Wall was nice to zone, though.
And here's already the answer. So once again, DreamHack is moving in there, trying to go for the kill, but the palm is good. Sonya is at least for now safe, but here comes also the isolation against Karasim. Is in a little bit of trouble. Splendor is attempting to retreat, and there's the kill against Liming. Also, Karasim is dead, but they're not stopping there. They're going for Sonya again, and she's down. Noro barely escaping, Bloomby alive, but what a fight again by Fnatic. And I loved how they moved away from that camp. That was exactly the problem that they had over the last 2 days. Every single time they found themselves close to a talent lead, they took fights that they lost, and in this case, they moved back, waited for the 16, said, guys, give the camp up, and then go in.
Yeah, they got the surprise Athero coming in from the back as well. The perfect tunnel in, once again dropping that isolation onto the healer, so preventing any more hitting. The palm did still land, but it did not help long enough. So really nice play here by Fnatic. They are 2 levels ahead, currently still a talent ahead, just in time for the temples to be spawning soon. And Athero already just countering any pressure that myInsanity had on the map by clearing this top lane.
It was definitely beautiful target calling also in that last fight. It was extremely well done. For me personally, the highlight is really the beginning of the fight where they move away from the camp and just say, like, guys, wait a little bit longer until we have 16. We lost so many games already because of that, because we greeded too much, because we overstayed. There is nothing that we're losing. Only 2 Siege Giants. Let that happen, and then we go in. They are rewarded. They get 3 kills out of it. They have a massive lead right now with nearly 3 level. And look at that kill count. 7 against 0.
Yeah, it is a huge difference here right now. Fnatic, though, they can't take this top temple. They can't contest it, and they can't really defend this fort either, because 16's about to hit for myInsanity, so they'd be on even talents, and Muradin is the one in the bot lane, not DreamHack, so they can't turn this into a 5 versus 5 instantly again. Instead, they're just making sure they get all the shots from bot lane, making sure they get everything they can out of this, and getting ready to defend their top lane together, Muradin being back to meet up with his team.
That's 2 keeps down now. Fnatic took 2 keeps down. myInsanity now with the level 16 talents. They are not out of this by any means. They've shown how strong they are. And the problem with myInsanity is, if you underestimate them, they will kill you.
Yep.
They will take you down. They will slaughter you and they will just hang you out to dry. That's exactly what they are currently waiting for Fnatic to make one mistake that they can exploit.
Yeah, but Fnatic, like you said earlier, they've done some good moves. They're showing they're not going to get caught out with a little bit of overextending this time. This time they want to take the game in as convincing fashion as possible. So they're hanging around. They're moving towards the mid lane to put some pressure on. But not everyone. We're keeping the heroes who could get caught out a little bit further back. Shrimpy is going forward. They're just showing to try and bait everyone from myInsanity back.
They have good vision thanks to the Watchtower. They're trying to play the map right now. They collapse back. They go towards boss. It's open. They do not really have to go for it right now. They are on level 19. It's a 2-level lead for them. It's quite a bit of time that they have. If they see a chance, they'll take it. But for now, it's the Siege Giants that they focus on. I like it a lot. Position taken by myInsanity. They know, of course, that there's a risk that Fnatic tries to steal the boss away. But the longer they stay here, the more time they give Ethereal at the top lane to push the top lane in, focus the last keep down, and also, of course, these lanes, the mid lane and the bot lane, they're still starting to pressure towards the core, which is why Sonya is basically on defense duty.
Yeah, so Fnatic currently, they're not taking that risky play of going for the boss. They're taking every other camp, just leaving Breeze here to make sure that myInsanity can't take the boss. Now they're coming in because they know Sonya's not here yet. They do a lot of damage to Blumbeat, not enough for the kill, but they're just making sure that myInsanity can't take any advantage. And in the meantime, there's still a mercenary camp in the bot lane.
And there's always the Haka. He's just hiding in a bush. He waits for the next wave. He's just trying to get experience. And Breeze is playing this beautifully down here. And everybody is around him, but everybody is so far away that they can help him out if need be. It just pokes a little bit. And myInsanity is fighting a losing battle here. They need to do something. They're on a clock at this point. They cannot afford to overstay.
Yeah, their base is under attack. The Siege Giants have made it, and Tahaga with a Bruiser cap himself is on the top. Like Hail Blast, though, has been picked off here. We do see Valor able to pull back using that strafe already, but myInsanity moving on to the boss.
myInsanity, they rotated around and they collapsed on Kalthas, who did not expect it. Shrimpy now down. They have the level 20. That's a problem for them, but the Haka is going for the top keep at this point. He's starting to push. There's still the Siege Giant camp. myInsanity think it's worth it. They made the choice to go for boss, and they will take it. Bot lane still has that keep, but look at that core. Ethereal tries to force them back, and that's what he's doing, and the top lane is still pushing with the camp.
Yeah, he's actually going for this top lane while also keeping the pressure on the bot lane. He cleared the minions that were stopping the Siege Giants from attacking the core. This has forced Tassadar to come back to his base and allowed Athero to move up to the top lane to get this shrine and guarantee that top keep while the rest of the team defend the boss.
That is the best play that you can make when you are down for like one hero in this situation right now. This is perfect play from them. They're having currently also, of course, the Apex Predator once again, but look at that core on myInsanity side. It's already losing hit points. They're forced to meet Ethereal up at the top, and there's still a huge attack against the core. It's down to 72%. Ethereal moving away right now and finds himself where? Not back home in the base or anywhere. He actually went to the bot lane because he thought, hey, if I don't take too much damage here, I can start pushing these lanes again.
Yeah, unfortunately, he did take a bit too much damage. He's had to be back and rejoin up with his team, but he has Apex Predator. He's already back again. In fact, he just he's already back and he's getting ready to push this bottom lane.
They want to go for potential backdoor. They even take the camp before that. They know that myInsanity has heroes at the top lane. They also know that myInsanity doesn't have level 20 yet. It's very good decision making on the side of Fnatic. myInsanity, on the other hand, they just need one more kill. It was beautiful how they picked off Kalthas, and they're trying to do that again, as this time against Quarknix, but he's a bit too careful for that.
Yeah, Fnatic finally grouping up. They're trying to force myInsanity to fight and allow those Siege Giants to get more pressure onto that bot lane, but myInsanity avoiding the fight as much as possible. They need their 20s, which will be here very, very soon.
I'm loving this game right now. We only had one kill for myInsanity, but still, they are in a situation where a team fight that they win can, of course, turn the tides of the battle. 20 versus 20, the talents are here. Storm talents for both these teams. myInsanity suffered a lot of damage on the core, meaning one last temple would end the game in favor of Fnatic and tie the series.
Yeah, and that would be a big deal here right now. The level 20s for myInsanity. Temporal Flux, Peaceful Repose, Storm Shield, the Indestructible, and that Ignore Pain on Sonya. And look at Fnatic, the only thing left on the map, and they're just waiting for it. Dahaka is in the bot lane, pushing it up, keeping the pressure on, so that if myInsanity ignore this, the camp can push the bot lane and put pressure on. If myInsanity react to this, they could get trapped.
They take it, and they are also, well, they delayed it, and they set a bit of a trap, but it's also going to help them with the next temple that's going to spawn very soon. The Haka is already pushing the bot. As you said, myInsanity is saying, guys, we cannot just simply play a reactive game here. We need to go out on the map and somehow try and get a kill. They already took that Bruiser camp, but Fnatic is currently playing this a little bit too smart. 2 temples are up. The Haka is guys again pushing. Look at this wave coming in. There's 2 catapults with it. There's a 3rd one. And there's still the Siege Giants on the way. And myInsanity, they move to the top. They're trying to make their play here.
In comes DreamHack though from behind, getting ready to try, but myInsanity, they want to try a backdoor. They're going straight for the core here. Hasselhoff's trying to micro around, whereas the focus is coming out, but Hasselhoff's getting focused at the palm. Will not be procced. That is huge. He blinks away, no keeping himself alive, but first Sonya is getting taken down. Bloomy still taking down goes the Lee Big, and that is going to be GG, but it looks for Splendor trying to micro around. He palms himself. He practices a peaceful repose. He is surviving. The core is dropping it. Tassadar and Johanna still alive. They're trying to focus down. Tassadar will drop Johanna. The only one left. She gets dragged and is picked off, and that is going to be GG. And Fnatic will take the game here.
But once again, 25% on the core. What did myInsanity do? They realized that they cannot play this game any longer. They needed to take the initiative, and they went for the only thing that they could do. They had a big cam at the top lane. There was 2 temples up, and they realized if one of them is being taken, they would lose. So they go for a Hail Mary attack at the top lane. It nearly worked. It's 25% on that core. If that palm gets triggered on Li Ming, she might have a chance here. Smart play by Fnatic. That's exactly what they need to do, but I love how myInsanity reacted to those decisions.
Yeah, myInsanity, they really know when to go for an end. They know when they're in a tough position, and then when that is the correct decision. Once again, like you said, it very nearly worked. They worked that core down a lot, but Fnatic were just too far ahead there, and they were able to push it down.
I am totally loving this series. I mean, this is beautiful play that we've seen. The first map was already tense. The second one was just from a strategical point of view insane. And again, it is DreamHack here. Such an amazing play by Ethereal on this hero.
Yeah, and also the fact that Fnatic just had so much control. 12 kills to 1, and that 1 kill was the wraparound from myInsanity at that boss area onto Kael'thas.
I really love how both of these teams are playing here today. myInsanity definitely making good use of that hero pool that they have, and their double support strategy is something that they, of course, have shown off in so many tournaments already. Fnatic at the same time, if you compare the games that they played throughout the tournament, they really improved on these weak points that we talked about, that Quacknix mentioned in the interview as well. And they are playing in the late game a lot more consistent, very concentrated, and a lot more disciplined than they used to. And it's really working out for them. But still, let's not forget, they didn't win map number 1. It is a tie, actually, in the best of 5 now.
Yeah, it is now a tie in the series. So either one of these teams still has to win 2 more games before they are able to go to the final to meet up with Team Dignitas.
Yeah, but definitely a beautiful match here, and I am really excited to see the next few matches between these 2 teams. I would love to see them go the full distance with a 5-mapper here before we are heading into the finals itself, but that is definitely a great start into the series.
Couldn't agree more. This is a spectacular series already. And for now, though, we are going to head to a very quick break. And when we come back, it will be game number 3 between these 2 teams in the best of 5 series. Stay tuned.
Let's end this thing. Once and for all. My life for ire.
StarCraft II, Legacy of the Void. Play it now. No previous expansions required.
You know, I've been in more scrapes and adventures than I can count. That being said, I've never seen anything like this.
Hail, hero.
Is that a frog in a bubble? Oh gosh, they are so cute. Well then, there's so many friendly people here. Coming through. Love the hair.
Oh, the cavalry's here!
This place is awesome! I found some Vikings! Wow, you're big! The name's Tracer, and the Nexus could always use more heroes. Ah! Not funny!
As king, I dedicated my life to Tristram and served its people with all my heart. In exchange, they called me a madman and betrayed me. But I have returned, stronger than ever. These so-called heroes think they can destroy me. But I cannot be killed again. Here in the Nexus, I will have my revenge. I am Leoric, the Skeleton King. And I will only choose allies who I know will never betray me.
Welcome back, everybody, to the semifinals between Fnatic and myInsanity. My name is Kendrick Swish, and it is an honor to cast, or to sort of introduce you and guide you through this series. It's been a pleasure. Fnatic actually managed to make the even score 1-1 now. And the third battleground is going to be Battle of Eternity, and that is something we haven't seen throughout the entire tournament. Also, we want to give a special shout out to Mr. Quacknix for surprising and convincing us that he does indeed play more heroes than Falstad and the Greymane.
Yeah, I've seen his account before. I know that he did play others. He played Vala there, admittedly with a build that I had never seen before. Composite arrows without frost shot, full auto attack build. So that was interesting. myInsanity's strategy to completely isolate away Quacknix's hero choices maybe backfired a little bit.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I feel like the Greymane ban was definitely probably a little bit too far on the fear of like isolation. I do think isolation is a very healthy strategy, especially if you do feel like your opponents do have a limited hero pool. But sometimes I feel like it goes a little bit too far, and I feel like it definitely did for myInsanity.
Another hero that stood out quite a bit was Dehaka, because he definitely showed how to dance the Dehaka bling. I mean, he was literally anywhere on the map. The Apex Predator at level 20 definitely came a lot to fruition here, Grubby.
Yeah, which made me kind of surprised that myInsanity found themselves in a place where they very nearly stole away the victory of Fnatic that seemed at least 10 minutes in the making. To get to a point where you have a naked core, no keeps, 67% health on your core, no globals, no team disengage like Gust or Void Prison, and then you go up against a global hero like Dehaka, against a team that was 2 to 3 levels ahead, and you bring their core to 22%. I'm always for, when you are losing, first of all, to try to win, but if that is not an option, to make the victory look ugly. And I think that's a little bit what we saw here.
Yeah, myInsanity definitely fought like a lion here, like a cornered animal. They really showed their teeth and almost made it work. It reminded us a little bit of to their game against Team Liquid, where they also went for a last resort strategy, and they almost made it work. Now, Dread, do you think that is the right approach? What could actually... Yeah,
I think it's the right approach. It's not always the prettiest, and sometimes seems very radical, and you're like, well, it's like probability is so far against you, why would you even do that? But at the same time, not doing anything, the probability gets even worse. So it's one of those things where, to the casual viewer, that decision-making seems very weird, but at the same time...
throw.
Yeah, you're like, oh, congratulations, you're never going to win that.
is very happy about it.
But at the same time, like, if they were not going to do anything, it was a 67% core. All it would take is a couple of shots from any of the shrines, and you lost the game anyway. So I like that they showed signs of life throughout the entire match.
Yeah, as we see on the screen, by the way, once again, we want to highlight that the grand final against either myInsanity or Fnatic is going to take place at 19 CEST in the evening. So just to give you guys a little bit of a feedback and update on how to prepare your evening schedule.
Yeah, and if the games end early, we might have some filler. Otherwise, we'll lead right into that. But that is a set time for the grand finals, 7 p.m. Amsterdam and Berlin time. So we can work off of that. For now, we are in that second semifinals in a 1-1 score. And I must say that I'm pretty pleased to see that we're going more the distance here in this match.
Absolutely, especially since we're now playing, or we're going to be playing on Battlefield of Eternity. And I know, Mr. Dread, you have been looking forward to this particular battleground in particular. Can you tell us a little bit why?
This map specifically for me, I feel like it provides strategically some of the most interesting dynamics, like something when studying some of the Korean teams' approach on how they'll like kind of take the game. There's a lot of different options, but there's actually a feign abusing Fog of War, because there's so many areas of Fog of War on that map specifically, and whether or not you're going to be offensive or defensive, I just absolutely love. And mainly just because like if you overcommit to the map objective and your opponent comes to defend and you all just disappear in the Fog of War and just wait for like 2 seconds, they're going to expect that you rotate to the defensive situation and then you be hyper aggressive again onto it. Things like that are available on this map, and creativity in strategy is available. So I feel like shot calling is very heavily promoted here, and that's why I kind of value the map so much.
Is there a tip coming from Professor Grubby out of the laboratory for all those players outside who play on Battlefield of Eternity for the first or second time?
Well, Dread is hitting hard here with the advanced tactics, which I think will be lovely to see, and a really compelling argument for the battleground. For myself, I'm always thinking like, okay, this actually changes the way that you build your hero every time. When you are playing on Battlefield of Eternity, you see a number of talents and heroes go up in value. Anything that is really good against single target environment damage. So even though we may not see him, then again we may. Artanis with his level 1 amateur opponent talent goes up a lot in value, and just generally going for single target damage like Manticore, Hunter's Mark. These things are more valuable here, and you will see an adjustment of talents by every player.
So basically damage amplification, very valuable in order to burst down that Immortal in the middle of the map a little bit quicker than the opposing team. Now, think about Illidan, maybe again, is he worth banning on this Battleground? Because we haven't seen it at all.
So for Europe, he gains a little bit less value on this map, but I do think he is something to be feared on this map. He doesn't necessarily excel in the earlier parts of the map, but usually there will be an area to where the distance is far enough that he can kind of thrive. Like, it's the same with Tomb, right? We saw him played on Tomb. It's not necessarily his best, but he definitely can have a very compelling argument with just a little bit of variables changing, which are highly likely to see at some point.
All right, so let's switch over from theory crafting into the actual matter. Battlefield of Eternity, as we mentioned, is going to be map number 3 between Fnatic and myInsanity. As we can see, Fnatic starting off with the first ban. This time, what's it going to be? Kael'thas might be very likely. He has been a force to be reckoned with throughout the entire tournament. Illidan, as you mentioned, just Dread. But also someone like, I don't know, Illidan, there we go. We can also, what is the role of Li Ming? She has been very controversial, right?
Yeah, this is actually probably one of her best maps. So overall, I have not been too big of a fan of her, but this is probably one of her better maps. I don't think she's first pick worthy. I'd still like to see a Kael'thas, honestly.
Damage amplification from Tyrande.
Yeah.
They don't want to have it.
They go with the Li Ming instead, understandably so. She gains a lot more poke value on this map than some of the others, and she actually provides, like, as the game goes on, a decent amount of single target damage as you can spec into her Q.
Yeah, when you build her with the Charged Blast at 4 and the Magic Missile upgrade Seeker at 7, you get very serious damage at your level 1.
Whoa.
I love ETC on this map because of his attack speed aura. It really helps in the trades against the Immortal. But to see actually Murden ETC on the first pick of the second rotation, that is crazy.
It's a bold move, that's for sure.
That's the beefiest first and second pick I've seen throughout this entire tournament.
And the beardiest.
Quite literally, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We see a Tassadar, once again, the jack of all trades, the all-rounder, granting vision, granting protection, granting rotations.
I really like to see Sonya, not only because the pairing with Tassadar, we've done this day, like all day, but you were talking about single target damage. Just spam your W all day onto the thing. It's very good at isolating. And this is actually, I've been very negative towards Greymane this entire tournament. I feel like Battlefield is probably one of his more selling pointed maps, just largely because it's one of the only ones where when he sits in Worgen form and just auto attacks for days, he actually eats the Immortals alive.
Yeah, you often find yourself in a situation where the 4 of you will be doing something like defending your Immortal, and you put one dedicated auto attacker single target damage. The best ones for that, Greymane in Worgen form, Butcher, Vala is pretty decent. Li Ming not as much. Artanis, Zagara are really good at just soloing an Immortal and doing that pretty fast. Now, I don't like Greymane that much against Murden or ETC.
Lunara. Let's take a look at Nature's Calling. Also a really good thing to always keep in mind, not only against the Immortal, but also while split pushing and pushing structures while the rest is busy in the middle.
Wisps, maybe Skybound Wisps to see over the walls, or yeah, and to have the vision after the Wisp dies. Sonya will get removed, so Dread, your pick there potentially for the third is not going to be an option anymore.
One thing to be considering for myInsanity's composition is they don't have any damage sources to actually get onto the Immortal at this point in time, and it's something they really need to be considering. Tyrande, Sonya, Zagara is obviously, we talked about being a decent option there. Greymane gained a little bit of value, even after his nerf, but it's just, they need to be really worried about how they're going to be able to deal with it right now, just because Fnatic has so many good things going for them in their comp.
They need something very mobile. Force Wall is going to be an issue. ETC and Murden can go, but if no one can follow...
There goes the Zagara. Okay, as we mentioned, thanks to her minions, of course the Hydralisk, the Hunter Killers, and the Roaches, she provides a little bit more extra damage on that Immortal. Kharazim being picked up by myInsanity. He's quite useful when it comes to restoring health while fighting against the Immortal as well, but Dread, do you really like that over an Uther or over a Rhaegar?
So it's definitely the best map argument for Kharazim, so I definitely don't dislike it. If he has a map of value, I think this would definitely be it.
The free heal, there's nowhere he can get more healing from his trade. Sure, this is a great point, but it still doesn't tell us what myInsanity is trying to do. The 5th pick will explain everything, I feel like. So far, I like Fnatic's draft a whole bit more.
I agree with you so far, but that last pick could be something that is.
Could be crucial.
They've kind of surprised me throughout the entire day with their dress myInsanity so far. And then Johanna. She is the story of the European tour, but with Murd and ETC out of the way, it definitely makes a little bit of sense. I'm surprised there hasn't been more Tyrael, but I mean, she's a great pickup. I like it here. Not surprised there. So here it is, rounding it out, myInsanity.
What is your surprise pick, if any? myInsanity has been
Sylve
surprising
is something
us.
that I think we might see here.
Double specialist, double warrior. Yeah, it could work.
It's just like they struggle at killing the immortal, but if they get it, then Sylve complements it a little bit more. They go with the gray main. Okay, so like I said, I like him more on this map. This is, in my opinion, the best selection of gray main that we've seen this whole tournament. So I find it appealing, but I don't know. The double tank and Zagara and gray main is just.
It feels awkward. I can't explain exactly why. Murd and ETC could buy a lot of time in the defense while Worgen Greymane goes ham on the Immortal.
Yeah.
Zagara can poke for free anytime that an Immortal is over-defended. You've got the vision control, which gets somewhat mitigated by Tassadar's vision.
Absolutely. I mean, we've also seen Karean, the coach of Fnatic, just firing up his mates, so to speak, because they definitely can make it. It's already a very close series. Even the first game wasn't one-sided at all. It's all going to come down to which team can maintain their focus. Grubby, which team composition, or is there anything else that strikes you?
I think this is the most balanced draft we've seen so far between these two. I feel like the team that had the better draft won both times, both in the first and the second game. This is more balanced, so it's going to come down a lot to execution. The one thing which I still want to highlight, ETC, potential mosh pit, only cancelable by Li Ming's Wave of Force, and Johanna's Condemn or Blessed Shield. So if you eliminate those two, or if you catch them in the mosh pit, that could be a play point.
Indeed. Dread, who would you give sway to, as our good friend Kolaris would say?
I don't know, honestly. I agree that it's probably one of the closer drafts that we've seen so far. I'm not too sold by either, but if I was going to pick one, I feel like I fall more towards myInsanity by a small bit. I think execution is going to be huge. I'm happy. This is one of the only drafts we've seen so far where I'm just like, whoever's the better team is going to win this game.
It is a very rare occasion where both team compositions on paper look around even, right? Around 50-50. Normally, it always comes down to which players strive a little bit more in their roles, which heroes are a little bit stronger in the current meta. But we have a really unique scenario here between the both teams. And what else to expect in the semifinal, of course, of this summer regional here in Leicester? I know who else is ready. Tetra and Calder at the Taskmaster's desk. Take it away, guys.
Okay, the camera just lost the staring contest.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he just doesn't stop. That guy does not blink. It's crazy. We are going into game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, and it is going to be a good one. I actually went down during the break and talked to both of the teams a little bit, and myInsanity said, like, guys, if you liked the game so far, you're going to love the next match, you're going to love Battlefield of Eternity. I was expecting something crazy in the draft after that sentence, and it felt a little bit like they backed off.
Yeah, like we expected like something, especially after the double tank, like we were just theory crafting what it could be. Like the guys downstairs were raising my hopes for our Tannis in the game. We were thinking maybe a Sergeant Hammer just behind the front line, but you're against that Li Ming kind of thing. But in the end, it turns out to be just a little bit more standard.
We were thinking crazy, right? We were really thinking, okay, if they already lead with that, it looks a bit like a surprise pick. What's the craziest thing that we can come up with in this situation? And we have seen in the past a couple of Hammer picks, not really in any competitive setup. Well, disregarding the Globals for a moment, where we had like this one match, of course, but in this case right now, we didn't at least successfully play it, let's put it like that. I could have seen something really completely insane out on the side of myInsanity, but it felt like with the last pick, they backed off a little bit. They had an insta pick on their first 2 tanks, and then afterwards you could really see that they were a little bit hesitant on the last pick there. So apparently not really showing everything just yet, but it is one of their preferred maps. It's really one of those maps that they love the most. We have a tie in the best of 5 series here though now, and of course a ton of damage on the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, that Lunara is especially terrifying, and Li Ming, if she can get the resets, which Lunara does assist with by just taking down that health to within Li Ming's snipe range, then Fnatic can seriously start to snowball out of this. We are loading into the game, and let us introduce the teams.
We have to the left side Fnatic with Schlimpy on Lunara, Thero Angel has been put on Tassadar, Quacknix on Liming, Breeze on Johanna, and Smexy is rocking the Rhaegar.
And on the other side, it is myInsanity, and playing for them, it is Blumby on the Muradin, Hasuobs on that Zagara, Splendor playing Karazim, Darkbog on the ETC, and Nurok is playing the Greymane. He's off Tassadar.
Yeah, he's off Tassadar for once, exactly. That hero is picked away in this case. But right now, this is definitely going to be an interesting match. I mean, once again, both of the teams seemed very... Well, I don't want to say like super happy with how the games went so far. Of course, like they would have preferred to end up in a 2-0 going into the third map here. But they seemed very content with the way that they played so far. So both sides were pretty cheery. Both of the teams, there was nobody was really upset. We're saying like, yep, we played 2 great matches and it is a tie right now. This is a good series. We knew that it would be tough and we are going to give our best. Nobody was really like upset or anything. So these guys are fully focused on map number 3 right now and on what they can do to really get now the lead again in the best of 5.
Yeah, both of these teams want to move on to the next game to play against Team Dignitas in the grand final. For now, though, we are just seeing both teams just clearing out the lanes for now. No super aggression, no 5-man roaming squads that we have seen before.
Rhaegar again with the movement speed here. Smexy in the back already. At the bot lane, we have a tri-lane for both of the teams, so it's a 2-3 split currently on the map here. One of the talents, of course, that we are going to see later on used to great use is especially on level 7. Breeze already with a bit of a B-step here. But yeah, Lunara, of course, on level 7 with that Nature's Calling is going to have a huge impact when it comes to the objective fights.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering what Muradin is doing, what Blumby is doing on this Muradin. He's sort of hiding in his base. He's not showing himself, so the enemy don't know where he is and will be afraid of the gank.
Exactly. He plays the vision game at this point, and right now we see Fnatic also playing a little bit close here. We already have Tassadar in one of the bushes. Athero is just basically saying, hey, Muradin is nowhere to be seen, so we need to be careful of that. So they are playing very, very passively here. And it's a very interesting strategy already by myInsanity. It's something that we have seen used a lot at the Spring Global Championship by the Koreans and the Chinese, trying to play with the vision a lot. And that's exactly what myInsanity is currently trying to adapt.
Yeah, they are just looking for an opportunity, and they're just leaving Muradin up in the top lane because instead of roaming and just not showing, they're just keeping him in a position that might need the most saving. Zagara not having a huge amount of escape herself, so he was just making sure he was nearby to rescue her in case a load of people from Fnatic came up.
Fnatic currently going for defense at the bottom. Lunara is still attempting to poke at the top Immortal a bit, but we have still Muradin there trying to zone her out. The Wisp is already helping a bit, but Lunara forced onto lane again, whereas down to the bottom we're having Fnatic in full force defending their own Immortal, but both of the teams at the same time trying to get these waves cleared so that they head into the level 4 talent.
Yeah, they want those level 4s. Those talents going to be very important right now, especially for Lunara. Getting that extra wisp speed is a huge thing on this map, getting so much vision. Darkbog dropping a stun onto Athero, who's able to shield himself and back away, and now a bit of counter damage onto Blumby here. He will survive, but he does have to back up. He's going to have to rely on his trait to heal up a bit.
Lunara is going for the Immortal up at the top, and Fnatic is still defending here. Both of the teams are heading into the level 4 talent, and we're having Lunara now contested by Blumby, who drops Shrimpy very low, but Shrimpy still with quite a bit of poison damage against the Dwarf.
Yeah, and we have level 4s hit by both teams pretty much simultaneously. Worgen build coming in for Greymane, that thick skin coming in on level 4 to combine with the Wolfheart on level 1. Zagara with the envenomed spines, and Tassadar taking that extra vision range.
Tassadar with the vision, and I kind of like in this particular setup that we have the healing ward taken on the side of Fnatic. It gives them quite a bit of value when it comes to the fights on those Immortals. First of all, if they defend, they can just like stay a little bit longer and really get that poke in. So it's one of these things that we actually see quite a bit if you are in... on a map where the objective is very stationary, and that definitely applies to the Immortal. The first one, by the way, is being picked up by myInsanity.
Yeah, and it does have half the health worth of shield, so it is going to be able to push it pretty hard. It is the first Immortal, but we do see Fnatic grouping up very aggressively for it, leaving Tassadar in the bot lane as he will be able to survive. There is the Iron Skin popped by Johanna. She was worried about ETC stunning her. She went out to deal some damage.
Yeah, and talking damage, we're still having everybody trying to burst that Immortal away. Now the shields are gone, which means that the Immortal is switching into melee mode and is going straight for that fort. Good damage from myInsanity. They get a lot of value out of this early Immortal here. Bot lane is still soaked by Muradin and Tassadar, but up here at the top, there's a huge party going on, and it looks like myInsanity is going to get this one fort.
It is surviving for now, but with the minions coming in and also just any ability at any point, that fort will die, but it does live for the moment. Lumbi has been outpoked here quite severely by Athera in this bottom lane, but his team could be roaming down, which is why he pushed forward, but we can actually see via the minimap that they are grabbing that siege giant, those Khazra camps in the top lane.
Yeah, Zagara at any point can really just like drop the roaches to drop the fort now too, and that of course is going to give myInsanity a lead in experience. They have decent vision also with all the creep tumors that have been put down on Zagara's end. There we have it. Instead of the roaches, it's the Hydra taken down, and as a result, level 7 hits for Team myInsanity.
Yeah, we are not seeing the Incendiary Elixir this time. It is going to be the Quicksilver Bullets, the extra human attack range by 20%. This was a discussion we had. It keeps you out of the engage range sometimes, but you can take the extra engage range later on, that extra Dark Flight. So we'll see how that does work out. It does allow Darkmok to poke from a little bit further away here.
Yeah, and at the same time, we are also now seeing, of course, on level 7, that Nature's Culling. We've been talking about the talent quite a bit earlier today. It is definitely one of the things that will allow Fnatic to put a lot of pressure onto those Immortals. And in this case, I mean, looking at the talents right now and the potential level 10s that we're also seeing, one of the things that we, of course, could still speculate if myInsanity really has a bit of a secret strategy saved up here, would be a potential, not really hoping for it, but it could be a Nidus.
It could be a Nidus. The extra soak on this map, only 2 lanes to soak, so Zagara could bounce between them pretty efficiently. ETC on the side of myInsanity as well, just adding a bit of variance to them with the follow-through, that extra damage. So he's going to be able to do extra damage in the front line, whereas Nurok on the Grey main is just going to be a bit further away in the back line.
Yeah, we talked, by the way, also earlier, of course, about Nature's Culling, but let's mention another talent that is really important here when it comes to the objective itself. It is that level 4 talent that we're seeing from Muradin, the Sledgehammer. Without the stacking of the Perfect Storm on level 1, he still went for Reverberation, but an important talent to mention. And once again, that chain stun attempt against Tassadar. He moves away, and myInsanity is eating a lot of damage as Shrimpy is trying to cover the retreat of Athero.
Yeah, so Fnatic, they are just going to reposition themselves here. They're going to try and move up towards their own Immortal to get ready to defend while chasing back Nurok Quacknix with some great harassment there. Both of these teams would love to have their level 10s at this point, but they are too far away to really be able to just soak it out before this Immortal fight's over.
Keep the Thames in mind as well. Bot lane and top lane have to be defended. Zagara and Tassadar are currently doing exactly that, which makes this a 4 versus 4 at the Immortal of Fnatic. They are pushing myInsanity back. Both of the teams roughly on the same level when it comes to the shields on the Immortal at this point. But again, that poke, and Shrimpy now with the Nature's Culling is able to put a lot of damage on this Immortal, and you can really see how the hit points drop super fast if he gets just a few seconds to put the pressure on.
Yeah, Shrimpy and Quacknix together just with insane poke potential, so they're able to bring that Immortal down to half health, and now the Immortals are on team side, so they're able to defend it quite efficiently. But it does make it a bit riskier for Shrimpy to push forward and continue that poke he's been doing so far. But both of these teams racing towards the level 10 with myInsanity leading that charge.
Yeah, the double support is also giving, of course, Fnatic right now an opportunity to just reload these shields and tank a little bit more of the damage. Li Ming is being attacked. Darkmok was looking for a chance to maybe lock her down even further, but Quacknix is able to escape. But just look at the experience lead that we already have thanks to Zagara for them. They're trying to blast Nurok away. He escapes though, and once again, Fnatic is looking for an opportunity to maybe take a hero down before the opponent gets the heroic ability.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're playing super aggressive. They have a lot of health left, and everyone on myInsanity looking super low there, chasing through the Immortal at this point. But while they're doing this, Shrimpy is just taking out the Immortal. But Mosh Pit drops onto Tassadar here, who will get hit by the Immortal as well. The Immortal is taken out by Fnatic, but they're able to grab 2 kills. myInsanity grabbing 2 kills for this.
Wow, we have a fight in which Nurok escapes. God knows how he was able to do it. He barely manages to get away here, gets healed, of course, by Charism, and then the level 10 hits. Fnatic says, guys, it doesn't matter. Let's go for the Immortal, at least take the objective. They buy themselves some time to hit the level 10. The Immortal is now traveling onto lane, and with the death time as being still pretty low, we have Fnatic now with 5 heroes back on the map. But of course, Tassadar and also Janna have to move in.
Yeah, so we are going to see the Li Ming and the Lunara push that bottom lane, just get some XP for their team, because they now have their level 10s as well. We did not see the Nidus Swarm, unfortunately, from Zagara. It is, of course, the Devouring Maw. Lunara, though, yet to pick her level 10.
Yeah, yet to pick a level 10. We have the Wave of Force, on the other hand, the Ancestral, and of course also the Blessed Shield. We see a bit of a push at the bot lane. I actually like the decision on the side of Fnatic here. They didn't really risk to move to the top. Of course, losing those 2 heroes to get the Immortal was a bit of an issue, but they still got value out of it. They were able to drop the bottom fort, and that brings them again into experience range towards myInsanity, which is important. Lunara also going still for the Thornwood Mines, but a bit of a fight happening here at the bot lane where the teams are trying to go for the siege camp.
More catches Lunara here. We are seeing Johanna try to take this up. Now has to pull it to full retreat here. Gets Ancestral, but in comes Norok onto the backline. Wipes out Schwimpy so quickly here. And now we're just seeing everyone else from Fnatic pulling back, but that was a good engagement there by myInsanity.
Great rotation for myInsanity. The collapse onto the Khazra camp and are able to steal it away from the opponent. Get the additional kill against Lunara. That was, of course, great for the Wolf, the big bad Wolf going for Bambi and taking her down. Once again, we have the bot lane being pushed and myInsanity is in a great position. I mean, they're poking here. They have Zagara. They have the camp as well. At the top lane, Tacitus trying to soak experience, but myInsanity is having none of it. They're actually going in with up to the top now. Blumby on his Muradin to make sure that they're not falling behind.
Yeah, he is just going to keep soaking that up, keeping up myInsanity that little bit ahead, and that's what they want. They're currently very close to level 13, so they're just going to be able to keep their map control with that talent advantage that they get there. However, Fnatic not giving it up yet. We do have them taking their own Shaman camp. The Khazra camp at the top lane, currently the only objective really left, but the Immortals will be spawning in 20 seconds.
You can really see that this is one of the maps that myInsanity really, really loves to play. They're currently timing the camp here, making sure that they get the most value out of it by timing it with the Immortal. But look at this map right now. We have so much map vision thanks to Zagara with the Creep Tumors. myInsanity is playing a great match here. They use the Zagara with a perfect... I mean, this is like the perfect value from her. You have vision everywhere. You know about the rotations of your opponent. They have a talent lead over the opponent now as well. Fnatic still needs half a level until they hit their 13. So this is great control in this third game by myInsanity.
Yes, so myInsanity keeping control, and also they have their level 13s, like we said, on the prowl, being taken by Greymane, so not going for that extra Dark Flight range. Instead, he's just going to walk closer. That is the plan here, and he's also going to be able to get the extra movement speed to help out with that Fangs 2 on the prowl, as long as he's able to keep that Wolf Heart up.
One of the cool things about on the prowl is that you have a bit of an easier time chasing Lunara down with that additional movement speed. In this case now, by the way, once again the focus onto the bottom Immortal. Again, the level 13 talent playing a huge role here. And Fnatic is for now giving that up. They are rotating Tacitus currently to the top to defend against the camp that was stolen a bit earlier. And at the bot lane, well, Nurok is doing the exact same thing on his Greymane, making sure that he gets the XP and that these bad boys are not going to take down more than the tower that they just killed.
Yeah, so that is nicely done by myInsanity, who are moving away from the Fnatic Immortal right now. Fnatic with the numbers as much until Norok had arrived back, which he has now done. And Fnatic playing very defensively despite having that Nature's Culling due to the talent disadvantage they had. But now they are even. Giant Killer coming in for Lunara here, that Illusionist on Li Ming for the escape. Burning Rage on the Johanna, Prescience for Tass, and the Earth Shield for that Rhaegar.
13, definitely a great talent for Lunara. We've seen a lot of talents taken here. The Giant Killer is great, unfair advantage has been taken, and great as Spell Shield as well over the course of the tournament. But right now, the damage output, especially against Blumby on his Muradin, is pretty insane. That's exactly what Lunara is trying to do here, to force him to retreat super fast. But they are, of course, still in the position where they are about to lose an Immortal, and they need to somehow turn this around. If they lose the fight right now, and myInsanity gets 100% shielded Immortal, that's going to be brutal for Fnatic.
Yeah, and Fnatic, they desperately want to avoid that, which is why they're playing so defensively here. And they also are very afraid of Mosh and more, which is threatened there by that EGC, by Darkmok. But he does have to pull back. The Blessed Shield, though, does whiff here. So we are seeing myInsanity pull back all the way to their Immortal.
Let's not forget one thing. Fnatic has currently great poke thanks to the heroes that they have. Lunara, Li Ming, also, of course, Tacitus with the Storm. And they have a double support that they are playing, which is incredibly crucial if you're going into a long, sustained fight. And that is what kind of forces myInsanity's hands right now. They need to be very careful that they don't get poked to death. And this is more or less what's happening.
Yeah, they're just getting worked down, and this is the advantage of Lunara. However, Karazim providing a good amount of healing here. He's he's a really good support for the situation, and is massively keeping his team alive.
Exactly. I mean, he's at 60,000 heal already, which is crazy if you compare it to what we're seeing for Rhaegar, for example. 21,000 on his part. So he's getting so much value right now because Lunara is getting so much poison damage in. Li Ming with a poke. But here comes again. Li Ming. Quacknix is back. Force Wall has been cancelled. cancelled, and at the same time myInsanity is going for the poke again, and in the long run they're going to win this Immortal unless Fnatic goes for a burst attack and tries to win the fight.
And Fnatic moving forward here, they take down Zagara, nicely done by Breeze, able to separate him out from everyone else, and now Fnatic pushing forward, but Muradin trying to wrap around and just steal the Immortal. What is happening, which forces Fnatic back? Muradin though, might have put himself in a tough position. The Immortal is going to go over to myInsanity at this rate. No, Fnatic once again able to zone them out, but it looks like that might let Muradin live.
Sledgehammer is the talent that Muradin really tries to use here. Quacknix is already falling up to the top. Breeze is there. They really want him. They really want Blumby, and they are going in. He uses the Dwarf Toss. He's pretty low in mana. There comes Quacknix. It's a little bit unlikely. Are they going to really try and take him down? The wave of force is nearly killing him. And there's the kill. My God, Fnatic. They lose the Immortal, but they get the kill against Muradin. And that will make it so much easier for them to take the Immortal down.
The Immortal has so much shields, though. That is a huge deal. Maybe 2 people committed to that. Might have been better to let him go. But like you said, at least there's a person down. At least Fnatic have a little bit of breathing room now. But they need to defend this Immortal very hard.
Muradin was very crucial for the entire defense. He's very tanky. And now the entire brunt force of all the poke that we see for Fnatic is going to hit ETC. So we are not going to see myInsanity in a situation where they can just like poke them to death. We will see Lunara trying to just like burst down the Immortal as fast as she can, using the Thornwood Vines now as well. And right now I guess that we are going to see the wall fall on the side of Fnatic, but they shouldn't really lose the keep here.
Yeah, they should easily be able to defend the keep, because look at how much damage that poison is doing. Look at the percentage of the health on the Immortal that Swimpy is able to do here while also harassing everyone. Oh, myInsanity, but Tassadar gets Mortar. He's going to need to activate that E straight away. Actually, it doesn't look like there's going to be any follow-up. He does activate it, and he is able to survive. But here is 16 for myInsanity.
myInsanity has that 16 with the Maul. They were also not looking for Tassadar, by the way. They were looking for Lunara, who just barely escaped. And Shrimpy is still poking, but goes in a little bit too deep. And there's the kill. Overextends for a moment, and then myInsanity collapses on him and takes the kill. Ancestral on Johanna, now on cooldown, and this all of a sudden gives myInsanity a chance to go back in again, and they claim the keep after all.
Yeah, Shrimpy just pushing a bit too far forward there. He got wrapped around on. Very nicely done by myInsanity, who continued to take map control.
Yeah, and well, if you look, for example, at the damage, we have 62,000 hero damage on the side of Li Ming, but Lunara is a close second with 59k, so she's looking really strong here. 16 versus 16 talents now, but you can really see this intelligence of myInsanity with their play, just waiting for an opportunity. They move back, Shrimpy tries to follow, he puts the damage in, he oversteps for half a second, and they immediately make the call, collapse on Lunara, take her down, and with her gone, they can finally move in.
Yeah, not even time for Ancestral to activate there. I don't even think it got cast due to how quickly Shrimpy got burst down there. But, like you said, we do now have Fnatic with their level 60s as well. It's the Invigorating Spores for Shrimpy here, getting that extra attack speed, which is seriously going to help him work down the tanks and those Immortals.
Also for Johanna, an important talent to take now is, of course, Imposing Presence in this setup. She's the only tank. The double support really helps, but you need a bit more than that. We have 2 kills against 4 overall. We see that constant lead for myInsanity in experience, but more importantly, that keep that they were able to take down is of course crucial. If they are winning a team fight, they always have the bot lane where they can go straight for the core, and that's a huge problem for Fnatic at this point. They really need to make sure that in the next few fights they are victorious, or there's a good chance that myInsanity is gonna try and look to end the game. They have done it before in so many maps right now. They see a chance and they take it.
Currently we have an Immortal race going fairly even. But no, the poison is cancelled due to the fact that myInsanity got the Immortal down quicker. The poison, yeah, it does a lot of damage, but it is damage over time. myInsanity able to burst down a little bit faster.
Executioner on level 16 for Greymane. He's really going to try and blow that Lunara up if he gets a chance. It's his preferred target, of course, if he can't get on hold of Li Ming here. Those two extremely squishy, even with a double support. But again, that poke, Shrimpy, is always there. And let's not forget about Quacknix. He's still the top damage dealer in the game, and he's doing whatever he can to get that damage in. And Darkborg is all of a sudden in problem. Oh my god, Splendor palms himself. He's trying to hit ETC, but ETC dies, and then the palm activates on him. It's the worst case scenario. Not only does the hero that you are trying to save die, but you also lose the cooldown on the palm, and that forces myInsanity back immediately. That was really, really unfortunate here for myInsanity.
Yeah, myInsanity trying to make the best they can out of this, though. They've worked down the Fnatic Immortal as much as they can, reducing that shield on the Immortal when it starts pushing their base, and it is pushing the top lane where there is still a fort available. Fnatic, though, they now have a lot of room. They're able to be back, get all the health and mana they need, clear out the mercenaries in the top lane to get ready to help out this Immortal or gain some split XP.
Yeah, and what we really saw there with Karazim is just one of those things that happens quite often. You see a Karazim trying to dash into range, he's very close to the hero that he wants to target, and he just clicks a moment too late, the hero dies, and you palm yourself. At this point, of course, Fnatic, they have to make the most out of this. They will take down the fort. The question is, can they get more than that? Can they pick up another hero and then force down the keep? That would be the ideal scenario for them. It is one of the Immortals that has no shields left anymore, but it's still at full HP.
Yeah, but remember, just as long as Fnatic can stay here for as long as possible, Shrimpy is going to get so much worth here. He's already just harassing heroes behind the wall, but if he can get some auto attacks onto the keep or even just his ultimate, he is going to drop incredible damage here and put Fnatic in a great position to try and take down the keep later.
Wave of Force is also a huge part right now. If they can isolate someone, they will definitely do that. That keep is incredibly low, and they're attempting to drop it. They get it, and now are they going to be able to retreat? Here comes ETC looking for a chance. Oh, Breeze needs to be careful, but Bloom is also very low. The force wall once again being used. Nurok jumps in. He wants to follow, but he is extremely low as well. Well, he has not really a lot of hit points, so if the burst hits him, he's in trouble. But they are following it through, and they go in with ETC again. The chase is on, and that's such a huge distance to safety for Fnatic.
Yeah, Breeze gets Ancestral, though he's still alive. Shrimpy needs to be very careful at this position. He's able to wrap round, but there goes the Muradin over the wall. He's not able to catch Shrimpy, though. Breeze able to pull back, and Fnatic get everyone out of there, and they get the keep, evening up the structure count.
myInsanity ate so much damage. Catapults on the core, by the way, but they are only taking the shields down. I don't really feel they can take the hit points. Nope, they can't.
Exactly the shield.
Exactly the shield, exactly. But right now, the thing is really like, that chase was pretty awesome because there was always the chance of myInsanity just killing a few of these heroes. The distance to safety was like gigantic. They needed to go from one end to the map to the other. But it was also this poke and that discipline that they had with the retreat. Everything was just very crisp when they retreated here. Now they're even in the lead and will hit that 20s. And I mean, this map is currently, and the way that it works is the epitome of the series so far. We have a tie in the best of 5. We have both teams with a keep down, and it's still anybody's game to take.
Fnatic, though, will hit their level 20s first here, and that is going to be their opportunity. And in fact, they're going to hit it just in time for this objective.
Lunara by now, also by taking Li Ming in damage, 81,000, just showcasing once more how strong Shrimpy currently is on the hero. He died 2 times, he's the preferred target for myInsanity now, but also kudos again to, especially of course, Quarknix, who is currently playing an amazing Li Ming here.
Yeah, they are. The Li Ming has been very strong. This Lunara has been very strong. Just incredible damage out of Fnatic in general. And especially on these Immortals, they've finally been able to take control of a couple at least.
It also doesn't surprise me that Greymane is the highest damage dealer for myInsanity. He has been playing a fantastic game. Nurok has been doing so well. He are always putting the pressure on Lunara. And that's the huge threat for Shrimpy. Whenever he pokes out a little bit too much, Nurok will be there. He will be ready. And he is going to jump on you, showcasing that he is much more than only a great Tassadar player.
Yeah, and Shrimpy gets engaged upon. Ancestral popped very early, but that's what you need to do. Lunara has such a low health pool that you need to pop it very early just to make sure that it does actually activate.
That was actually like perfect. In this case, if you lose Lunara, you lose the fight, you might lose the game, so they went for it. Blumby is eating the damage, has to go for Avatar. Here comes Darkmog. Oh, the wave of force! Perfectly used here. Darkmog is, in this case, retreating. So is, of course, also Nurok. He had to move out. And for Fnatic, this is fantastic. They have that 20s, and they take the halftime show here. Not a scratch on the Immortal of Fnatic at this point in the game.
Yeah, Fnatic able to pull back, grab mana from their fountain there. They're going to be repositioned to defend their own Immortal and wait for when they can push on to myInsanity. myInsanity, though, also completely fresh now, but Greymane not with them. He's currently clearing the top lane.
He's trying to get 20 for them. He's trying to get the Storm Talents, but it is going to be so close. They need to buy time and need to buy it now. Fnatic, are they moving in? Are they going to try and exploit the advantage that they have? Nurok is back with them. Here comes Shrimpy, the attack against him. Nurok wants to go for it. He wants to go for the kill, but he doesn't get it. Again, the healing ward already placed down by Rhaegar, trying to give them a bit of a retreat area. Uh-oh, that is the Maw against Lunara.
And let's see if they can get onto a huge amount of focus. Greymane trying to take her out. Lunara goes down. That is a huge deal for Fnatic. They're able to pull back mostly, but no Breeze getting zoned out the top lane. Indestructible activates. He's just buying his team some time right now, trying to get away from the members of myInsanity, but they take him down as well. That is 2 kills of myInsanity, who are going super aggressive onto Fnatic's Immortal here, and Athero gets out thanks to that prescience.
Jesus, Norog, I mean, like, he went deep for this one. He nearly took down Tassadar as well, but what a great collapse onto Lunara. That was exactly what they needed, and guys, it was so close to 100% shielded Immortal for Fnatic. If they make that play, then they win the game, but now it's myInsanity. They turned it around, 19 versus 20. This is such an incredible play here. Once again, they're trying to go for Tassadar, trying to get the kill. Smexy covering the retreat, and we also have the force wall dropped, but this is just so close, and I mean, the Immortal here, as you can already tell, is ending up in the hands of myInsanity. The core being attacked, by the way, by catapults. This match is awesome.
This match is absolutely amazing. 20 versus 20. Both cores are being threatened by minions constantly here. So the team's having to guard them 99% first core blood for Fnatic there.
Exactly. That last shot getting a bit of damage in against the core itself. But what a match here once again. Now, of course, 20 versus 20. Up to the top lane, Immortal is there. And you could really tell in the last fight how crucial Lunara is for this team right now. If she is gone, then you are dead. And Shrimpy, now he has to play a perfect match here. They need to take down the Immortal. They have a lot of poison damage already on him. They need to be careful here right now. They will get the keep. The only thing is don't lose a hero so that myInsanity can't go for the core. But that's exactly what myInsanity, especially with Norog, is currently looking for.
Yeah, they're looking for anything out of position for Fnatic. Shrimpy dropping so much damage here, but the core is under attack. The Immortal is dropping very quickly. Athero will survive here. Breeze pulling forward, trying to catch someone out. Norog gets force walled. Quacknix from the side. In comes the English shield, and the palm will save Quacknix, will save Norog for now.
And the Maw doesn't hit anything. They're moving in again, and maybe myInsanity stayed a little bit too long. Norog is in trouble, and the palm is down. Bloomby jumps, has Ops exposed, needs to use the cooldown on Ball of the Storm. Breeze is moving in and tries to use the condemn. They're retreating once more. The force wall does not hit anything, and myInsanity is able to get away. The core for Fnatic, by the way, on 84%. Both of the cores already losing hit points here, and this game is crazy.
This game is absolutely crazy. Both teams want to get matching each other, going for those camps. Actually, we're actually going to see myInsanity leave this for a bit because they needed to go back to base to get some health and mana. Fnatic spending some time clearing out those minions in the bottom lane, and now they have their shamans.
Boys and girls, quick note here. 166,000 heal on Garrison after he hit level 16 with a Circle of Life. He is trying his best to heal out all of the Lunara damage, but it is, of course, incredibly difficult. 110,000 hero damage on Lunara. 113,000 on Li Ming. Quacknix playing an amazing match here as well. Tassadar, more or less unkillable, uses the force wall still here. And another 25 seconds until we have another objective on the map. And we are 27 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and Fnatic, they really are trying to pick something now, but myInsanity not having it because the Maw is still on cooldown for another 25 seconds. But look at Fnatic moving aggressively forward here. They're going to spot this camp, but they're not going to be able to interrupt it, so they will move a bit further back at the hero, trying to drop a bit of damage. He does have prescience up as well. Force wall to delay Muradin here.
They try to clear some of the vision here, and they still do. Breeze is there. All of the heroics are up, or will be in a few seconds. Already, Athero in trouble. Athero moving out. He needs to be careful here. Again, it's the healing wall, trying to make sure that he doesn't fall. The dimensional wall helps him, of course. This Immortal is very likely to decide the game.
Very likely indeed. They can just put, Fnatic can just push through the last Medikey. There's the engravement onto Athero. He's able to get Dimensional Shift. Prescience activating there. Very nicely done.
Oh my god, I would have a heart attack already if I was playing for Fnatic here. These collapses of myInsanity are fantastic. They are always finding a target to jump on. And Athero himself so often the victim, but he keeps himself alive. And then Rega is there to help him out. There's still the poke battle going on. And of course, with the double support, we are seeing Fnatic in a decent position. And still myInsanity, they have to defend.
Yeah, they're actually not only defending, they're trying to push aggressively to catch people out. It was actually a regular dimensional shift from Athero in the last fight, so he does have prescience back up, so he's going further forward again. Breeze going so aggressive right now. They want to try and catch someone out. It looks like it's Blumby, who they're able to work down a little bit. Shrimpy with just insane poke damage thanks to that Giant Killer.
Norog with his Greymane, he was at the bottom immortally, was trying to put some pressure onto Fnatic's hit points there, but now he rotates back up as he sees that it's turning into a 5 versus 5 again. So once more, Fnatic backing off. They need to defend their own core down. They, of course, are trying to well up. So, yeah, sacrificing a few of the points on their own Immortal. They're saying, like, all right, burst it down to half HP. That's okay. We're going to go for the team fight. And this is then all or nothing. If we win the team fight, we're good to go. And if we lose it, then you're going to end either way.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to see Fnatic push out onto the map. They want to try and take this fight. They push forward because the Immortals are on opposite sides. They are going straight for the fight. Shrimpy dropping a huge amount of damage here. Darkblock and Splendor able to pull back the force wall onto Bloodbee, but no reaction has come from it other than a little bit of damage.
This is it, guys. This is going to decide the game here. This fight, this Immortal, this situation. Again, the poke damage here. Darkblock slides in. They're trying to go for it. Splendor has to be careful. The force wall is there, not trapping anybody. Blumby, on the other hand, he's already retreating here. They're trying to stay outside the range of the Immortal. We're having once more breeze zoning for the rest of the team. Lunara, guess where she is? Yes, she's at the Immortal. She's trying to drop the hit points, and that's exactly what she does. But Shrimpy's moving over as we see Darkblock with a slide, and Blumby is there too. The damage pressed on ETC. He's trying to go in once more. Athero needs to be careful. They're breeze zoning for Quirknix. Liming is about to jump in. myInsanity is pressured back.
myInsanity are way too split right now. They're finally going to be able to regroup up. Zagara, the last one to join up with the team of Fnatic. Just using that force wall perfectly to zone out. They get a huge amount of damage onto Blumby here, forcing him back. And what they've given up on taking down the other Immortal. They are just going purely for this fight. But in the meantime, minions have once again arrived in the bottom lane for Fnatic.
Fnatic has a huge problem right now. Their core is being pushed down. Athero once again retreating. Shrimpy, he's back. He was putting so much damage on the Immortal of myInsanity, but he had to join up with the rest of the team since this is developing into a 5 versus 5 battle. Fnatic, they're on the clock though. Their own core is once again being attacked. There's another wave, and we already have the catapults in position. They're the poke for myInsanity. They want the Immortal here. Fnatic, they have to take a fight. They have to make a decision. They have to go in at some point. Darkmok is there. Gets stunned. Here's the palm. The palm not being triggered. Splendor needs to move out. He took the 20, of course, but the kill against Greymane, and that's the 5 versus 4 that Fnatic was looking for. Their core, on the other hand, is at 45%.
The catapult's still going. The Immortal's been taken. It's going to go straight to core. Fnatic
they don't
are
see
trying to end now. The minions need to score. They need to send someone back. They're going to try and raise it. They're going to die to the minions. That's GG.
Fnatic doesn't see it, and it's the kill. Unbelievable. myInsanity with a 2-1 here. What an intense finish, and just no chance for them to move back, save it, and turn it around.
Whoa, that is an insane ending. You can see it in the minimap. Fnatic tried to just go straight for the end, but they didn't see the catapults.
They were so focused on the fight, and I can't blame them. They turn it into a 5 versus 4. They know that they're running out of time. They have to make a decision. They collapse onto Greymane. First of all, they pressure Charism. He palms himself, doesn't have the heroic ability ready to save Greymane. And Fnatic looks at it and says, like, guys, now this is the chance. We have to do something. I actually think at this point they might have even realized that the core is being attacked, but they say, what can we do right now?
It would go down.
Their own Immortal is so low in hit points. What do they do if they actually move back with one of their heroes? That gives, of course, Nurok time to come back on Greymane. Yeah. So they might not even get the Immortal because their own is so low in hit points that myInsanity could have just simply moved in, snipe it down, retreat, because they know at least 1 or 2 heroes are back defending the core. So they just said, guys, it's a checkmate. We have to try and rush in, like burst it down faster. But with all those catapults in position, they couldn't make it.
That was a rough position for Fnatic. Like, I don't know. I can't think of a way out of that. Like, maybe. Like, you could have maybe sent Shrimpy back to clear the minions. He probably wouldn't be able to do it with Nature's Culling. Maybe. But even then, you can't take down the Immortal, even with that lower shield, because Shrimpy really works that down.
When they finally got the kill, the core was already at like 45%. The problem is, if that Immortal is captured, no matter how many shields it has, and myInsanity pushes in with it, you can't defend the core.
Yeah.
It's game
right there. They couldn't have left Shrimpy on the enemy Immortal longer to work it down and just take it, because they had to fight. There was too much harass onto their Immortal. They had to try and win the fight, and they got the kill, but it was too late.
myInsanity's poke game was perfect for them. They just bought themselves so much time, and what really mattered for them was that earlier on they took down these keeps, which put the pressure onto Fnatic, and it worked extremely well. When we're looking at damage alone, I mean, Li Ming with 144,000, Lunara with 133,000, which is incredible. Charism, 210,000 heal in this game.
That is an insane amount of heal, more than the other 2 supports combined. And you can see how Fnatic are feeling about this on your screens right now. They are not going to feel good after that. That was such a tough position to be in.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I mean, the first 2 games, that was going pretty... I mean, we had a very, very equal match there. But if you lose a 31-minute match with such a finish where you get the kill, you know that you can end, but you do not have the time to do it.
Yeah, it was so close, but guys, all these matches have been amazing. It's not over yet. Fnatic can still make the comeback, or myInsanity can close out the series. So we're going to head to a quick break, and when we come back, it will be game number 4 between myInsanity and Fnatic. Stay tuned, you do not want to miss this.
Look out, world! Trace is here!
Overwatch, an elite international task force assembled to ensure global peace. The fearless Lena Oxton was chosen as the pilot of their prototype teleporting fighter, the Slipstream. During a test flight, the aircraft malfunctioned, leaving her desynchronized from the flow of time. Thankfully, the brilliant scientist Winston was able to construct a chronal accelerator, granting Tracer the ability to speed up and slow down her own time. Armed with fantastic new abilities, she has become an irrepressible force for good. The Nexus could always use more heroes, and Tracer has answered the call. Tracer is an extremely mobile, ranged assassin that fires while on the move, manipulating time and space to her advantage. Tracer's reload key allows her to lock onto enemy targets and fire while moving. Her pulse pistols consume ammo as they fire, reloading automatically once spent. Press the D key to manually reload at any time. Tracer's first ability is Blink. Activating this ability causes her to zip through space, only to reappear a few yards away. She can store multiple charges of Blink that can be used in rapid succession. Her next ability is a close-ranged melee attack. This quick strike deals damage to a single nearby enemy and prioritizes heroes. Tracer's final basic ability is Recall. Upon activation, Tracer bounds backward in time, returning to the position she was located in a few seconds in the past. Using Recall will clear Tracer of almost all the negative game effects she is experiencing. Tracer's heroic, Pulse Bomb, is available at level 1. Just as in Overwatch, her heroic charges up as she attacks enemies with basic attacks. She also will acquire a large number of charges by landing her melee ability. Once Pulse Bomb has reached maximum charge, it can be activated. Pulse Bomb is an aggressive grenade that travels a short distance and can stick to enemies. After a brief delay, the bomb explodes, dealing heavier damage to targets in the center of the blast. Unlike other heroes, Tracer has only one heroic option. But at level 10, Pulse Bomb can be upgraded in 3 diverse ways. Sticky Bomb increases the explosion area and slows enemies. Quantum Spike increases its potency against a single target. And finally, we have Pulse Rounds, which increases the throwing range and allows Tracer's basic attacks to charge Pulse Bomb faster.
Woo! You're going down!
Tracer is extremely mobile and dangerous. Stay on the move and harass your enemy as much as possible. Remaining active in combat will allow Tracer to throw pulse bombs at a rate your enemies will find alarming. Her sheer speed alone is enough to dazzle opponents, opening up takedown opportunities. Keep an eye on your ammo and reload as necessary. Tracer's basic attacks are her main source of damage, so keep your clips full and ready to unleash a flurry of rounds at any time. If you find yourself in a pinch, remember that mounting, hearthing, and using recall will reload her ammo automatically. Blink is both an aggressive initiator and a get-out-of-jail-free card. Keep an eye on the number of blink charges available to Tracer and aim to stay 2 steps ahead of your opponent. Aggressively blink in to whittle down opponents with basic attacks, or dive past the enemy to eliminate an important target. Tracer's melee ability delivers a quick burst of damage, which will help to secure kills. Unleash a full clip of ammo into a target, then blink on top of them for a solid melee hit while simultaneously reloading. This loop, used wisely, will allow Tracer a constant barrage of damage. The strength of recall will be found entirely in a player's finesse. Use it to save yourself from an aggressive tower dive, to reposition in a team fight, reload ammo and clear negative status effects, or just to confuse your opponents. Relentlessly attack enemies and land melee hits to charge up Tracer's pulse bomb quickly. While the bomb provides a serious amount of damage, you will need to get in close if you want to make it stick. Hold a couple of blink charges or a recall in reserve to dash in fast and get out even faster. Tracer, Agent of Overwatch, has reported to the Nexus. Master her time warping abilities and your enemies won't even know what hit them.
The world could always use more heroes.
Remember to leave us a comment or subscribe to Heroes of the Storm on YouTube, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
Let's do that again.
My son, a terrible darkness has returned to our world. As before, it seeks to annihilate everything that we hold dear. I go to face it, knowing I may not return.
They're coming! They're coming back!
All my life I have lived by the sword. I've seen kingdoms burn and watched brave heroes die in vain. It's been difficult for me to trust after losing so much. But from you, I have learned patience, tolerance, and faith. Open fire! Anduin, I now believe, as you do, that peace is the noblest aspiration. But to preserve it, you must be willing to fight. For Azeroth!
What a game on Battlefield of Eternity between Fnatic and myInsanity, who are dogging it out in that second semifinals of the day here, of course, in the European Summer Regionals in Leicester, UK. And guys, it seems that catapults are pretty good units.
Winions all the way.
Yeah. So what did you think of that game? Why did it go the way it went? Because we've seen some really back and forth battle throughout the entire game.
Well, I'm just blown away by, first of all, Lunara's damage. Swimpy, he was putting out a lot of damage there. And the entire team of myInsanity dropped into the low reds multiple times, where I just thought even a slightly inferior team would have just fallen over like a bunch of cardboard, a house of cards. A house of cards, yes, exactly. It would have collapsed.
Yeah.
But excellent healing. Excellent healing on the side of myInsanity, and they stayed alive, and they salvaged these crazy situations where they're being pushed away in every direction. from both sides, an incredibly impressive game.
Now, we've also observed something very curious, especially on Battlefield of Eternity, because myInsanity, who had two very solid frontliners, they played very defensively during the Immortal phase. Dread, can you tell us a little bit more why they did exactly that?
Well, they had two targets that were pretty effective on the Immortal as a solo, and then also with a double tank, your damage output isn't usually going to be that high, especially against like the Lunara, who has Nature's Calling and just an absurd amount of damage. So with the amount of lockdown that you have, it pretty much makes it safer for you to send one to be on your opponent's Immortal, and then the remainder kind of defending and using your stun lock with the Immortal that you're going to have fighting for you as well to essentially kind of be a defensive tool. So just because your lack of damage mixed with your hard CC, it makes it safer to def.
I think Mankind has had a triumph here, because there has been one individual of our race that has finally gone the correct Greymane build.
I agree.
With
but only half Mankind, because they are wolf. Sort of.
Oh, yeah, sure. You know. Yeah. It must be the Worgen part that packed most of the brains.
Yeah, talk to us about that specific Greymane build, because it is different than the standard Elixir build.
Yeah, now, to be fair, the Greymane cocktail change was very recent, and it is absolutely not enough time to get a very comfortable mastery with a new build, except if maybe you already played around with it before. So it does require a very strong confidence in your play that you can make certain on-the-fly decisions during a tournament and apply them effectively. Now, that's certainly what happened. Darkmok there on the Greymane, Wolfheart, Thick Skin, Wizened Duelist at 7, and then Executioner at 16. So awesome to see that kind of Worgen power coming out, and topping it off, 0 deaths all the way until the very late part of the game, which meant that he was running 10% bonus attack damage and another 40% at 16, which was just really working out very well.
Now, even though myInsanity played a very crazy game towards the end and they had a little bit of help of their minions, we should not underestimate Fnatic, because they put up a hard fight and they had their moments, they had their good plays. Especially, I think, Breeze had a couple of good Blessed Shields there, preventing Splendor on the other side to drop those Divine Palms. Now, the next map is going to be Cursed Hollow, and this is a map that is very familiar to most of the teams. It's an entirely different playstyle than Battlefield of Eternity. What do you think does Fnatic have to pull out in order to make that series even again?
I think they got to think about something. I think myInsanity, because of their draft diversity that they have and the creativity that they have in some of the compositions, is going to excel on Cursed Hollow specifically. But at the same time, this is going to be the map choice for Fnatic. So I feel like they probably have a rough idea of what they're going to be looking to do, and have probably heavily considered what myInsanity might be able to pull out. Abathur, I think, is something that myInsanity is a little bit more comfortable with than some of the other teams. And it's something that he is very much enabled on Cursed Hollow. So.
Yeah, Grubby, if you were the coach for, or the strategic analyst for Fnatic, what would you advise them to go for, maybe in order to balance it out on Cursed Hollow a little bit more?
I mean, your first 1 or 2 picks are probably going to have to be heroes with global presence, so that you can counteract all kinds of threats, such as Abathur, Vikings, the opponent's global heroes. So as long as you start with a global hero, you have certain bases covered, and then you can start evolving into a place where you could also potentially counter things like Illidan and so on.
One thing I would really focus on is boss control. This map is very crucial to have boss. Yeah, the Falstead's a great tool. He has the global that Grubby was talking about, but then also has great boss control. I think it's very, very important to make sure that you can win a boss fight if you need to.
All right, so let's actually take a closer look into the detailed draft screen. Fnatic has the second ban here. myInsanity is starting things out. It's going to be interesting to see whether they will once again focus on Quacknix. Banning away a Falstad maybe on Cursed Hollow is certainly not too shabby, is it?
Well, yeah, I think if he gets through the bans, he will certainly get picked up immediately.
Falstad banned out. Are they looking for more of a Dahaka style? Is Kilthos what they want to look to be doing? myInsanity seem to be pulling away from Kilthos unless it's on a smaller map. But I think he still has more than enough value on some of the larger ones as well. So there you see the Illidan response. No surprise there coming up from Fnatic. Great on this map. And they do go through the Kilthos. I do enjoy this from them. So, how will Fnatic respond? Is it going to be the Dahaka? I think
we will see Dahaka. I'm afraid to see Li Ming. We haven't done the exact crunching of math yet, but her win rate has been I think, got
Very
around
underwhelming.
20%
Yeah,
this tournament.
I agree with you. I don't think that
We
her
still
win
see
rate
her.
has been very influential. And even the games that I think she did win, I would like to go and see if I felt like she was the reasoning, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, we haven't actually seen one of those crazy reset team fights where everybody
0
goes
times.
like, whoa, Li Ming OP. So, yeah, she remains a very inconsistent factor throughout this tournament. On the flip side, we see once again Bloomby with his most favored of warriors called Muradin and the Tassadar. This is pretty much a neutral pick so far for myInsanity. Doesn't tell you a whole lot.
Neutral, solid, opens up into that double support, which myInsanity is also known for. God, they're getting to be known for a lot of things, aren't they?
yeah, I guess at this point. Dahaka picked up Li Ming. Tank's chokehold is being in place here. Tyrande going to be picked up here for Fnatic. With no heavy pairing here, Johanna is going to be traditionally the go-to. There is no tank that is a very well-established kind of setup for her. Dahaka obviously is not bad by any means. Diablo, you are correct. I forgot about that. I don't... Oh, okay, so Diablo Tyrande works far different than every other version of kind of the Tyrande combos, which is something that if we do see, I'll touch up on, but for the meantime, try to avoid.
It puts him at risk.
Exactly. You can go 1-for-1 very easily with that style play.
Another option would be Stitches. You do have these poke this poke war sometimes around tributes.
Yeah.
Another hero which I'm surprised we don't see too soon on Cursed Hollow, and sometimes Towers of Doom, is Thrall. He has been very low priority throughout almost all of today. I don't think we saw him once. 0 contest rate in this series. Interesting.
Now, could you mention or maybe talk a little bit more about Tyrande on Cursed Hollow? What are her strengths here?
Scouting for boss repeatedly.
Exactly.
Canceling tributes no matter where you are.
Yeah. The delay on the tribute and the scouting of the boss are hands down her most influential points on this map. Anytime you're like, are they a boss? Are they a boss? She goes, give me 1 second really quick. And she knows. So no surprise there. myInsanity going with the Uther Thrall. They have nowhere near like that's very standard. I feel like when you look at their composition and a lot of options. So, and they do go with the Stitches, as you said. So, both these teams, another beautiful draft, I feel like, coming out from them. Not nearly as kind of lopsided, I feel like, as some of the ones in the past have been. I really do enjoy this one. Fnatic going with more than viable strategy. It is a little bit difficult to pull off, kind of.
Yeah, Fnatic has a lot of sustained damage, a number of pick-off, bit of global control. Their burst is high due to Hunter's Mark, but outside of Hunter's Mark, most of the burst comes from Li Ming, which means they really have to work off of short periods of damage, hook into burst kind of moments. And Uther is pretty good against that. Both Uther and Tassadar are burst healers, not so much sustain healers. Together they provide more sustain. But
also, Tassadar provides vision to sort of scout ahead these crazy plays.
Yeah. So both teams do have something of everything, some vision, some support, like both double support. So these fights could take a bit longer.
Right.
I lean slightly towards myInsanity. I like their draft a little bit more.
I agree with you. That's mainly just because I feel like Kel'Thas is just so absurdly strong.
Smexy style is determined there. Holy cow, giving me the creeps a little bit.
At the same time, if you look at how Fnatic's
Who's going to lose the staring contest?
No blink.
The cameraman with Smexy style. Oh,
no.
The cameraman is backing down.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's wise at this point.
Establishing dominance on your territory. Yeah.
No blink, no blink.
Don't let go.
And
hold on.
Dominance established.
Oh! Cameraman wins.
Anyway, it was a really good game.
Yeah,
that was a good match.
Yeah, cameraman is obviously needs to see a couple of changes in his play, but so one thing when you look at the Fnatic composition, they have an absurd amount of poke, which is going to be really healthy for them. Li Ming, we've talked about how her win rate has kind of been maybe lower than we expected. One of the beautiful things I feel like about this series, specifically between these two teams, is that the Li Ming is played on maps where Li Ming thrives. Like, Cursed Hollow is probably one of her better maps. We saw a Battlefield of Eternity, probably one of her better maps, where there's a high contestation point, there's nothing to stop but heroes, right? So somebody is taking the damage somewhere. So I do like that, but at the same time, a lot of their comp is what I kind of consider more of a fish in the barrel is what I call it, is where you have the Stitches, and then you just throw out the poke left and right as much as you possibly can. You have the delay from, you have the Li Ming for her poke and her delay. You have Tyrande's going to have a certain amount of delay as well, and then you just wait it out as long as you can, and then one hook is all it's going to take. That target's going to die almost 100% with the amount of CC they have.
Now let's actually double check real quick in terms of, I think in terms of mechanical prowess, both teams are phenomenally good.
Yeah.
So do you think that Fnatic can actually make it work? Because their team comp, in order to work, requires a lot of, you know, good coordination.
Yes, it does. It does seem like Fnatic has the burden on them to perform a certain set of abilities in a row a little bit more than myInsanity, which means the pressure should be a little bit higher on Fnatic. If they are going to win this one, I think it's going to come down to Dahaka. Ethereal Angel played marvelously just now on Tassadar, but he is back again once more to where he really excels. That frontline warrior thing, Dahaka, he's had some amazing picks. He's a real specialist in this second newest hero of Blizzard in Heroes of the Storm, and Dahaka is the only global hero here.
I think this game's going to come down to a lot, as you said. I think the Dahaka is going to be very crucial. At the same time, communication on the side of Fnatic, making sure those skills are very much calculated on nobody's burning their cooldowns and double stacking for their delay opportunities, but also very aggressive positioning for myInsanity. They have a lot of people who can wear hooks and essentially zone around a region to wear a lot of the DPS. You have Tassadar, you're going to have the Muradin as well. Uther is not necessarily ideal, but not the end of the world as well if he has to wear it compared to some of the other players or heroes.
Right, so for Fnatic, everything's on the line. If they lose this game, they're out, and myInsanity will face Dignitas in the grand finals. And so I really want to pass the ball to the viewers out there as well and join the discussion on Twitter for the hashtag HGC, because we have talked about their compositions quite a while. So if you want to if you want to join the discussion, then definitely feel free to do so. For now, we're going to pass the ball to Kaldor and Tetcher, who are ready at the caster's desk. So take it away, guys, and take us to Cursed Hollow.
Woo. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going into our fourth game, and this is potentially the last map that we have now in this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very close right now. These two compositions looking really, really interesting, especially the Dahaka that we saw in the Tours qualifiers coming in for Fnatic.
Having the Stitches, having the Dahaka here, this is a combo that we've already seen before. And of course, as already said by the analysis, there's a lot of coordination that is really needed to pull it off properly. myInsanity, if you look at the composition that they have, has definitely a comp that is probably a little bit easier to execute here. And it's incredibly scary what they're playing. Of course, for Fnatic, another big problem is that they just come out of very devastating loss. And we could see before we headed into these shots that especially myInsanity is in high spirits right now.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling really good, really hyped coming off of that last victory. And their composition is pretty solid. They got a hand on that favorite for most of the teams here, that Kael'thas for them.
Exactly, Kael'thas is going to be a huge deal. And keep in mind that we're also on Cursed Hollow. This is a map where Fnatic, well, they sometimes overreach a little bit, as we could see in the series that they played against Dignitas. But overall, I have to say, the play that we're seeing on their part is fantastic. And myInsanity are, of course, an amazing opponent here. The games so far were just a treat, and we are heading into the fourth map.
Yeah, so guys, this could, like Carol said earlier, potentially be the last map if myInsanity are able to take this. Fnatic gonna have to win 2 in a row to move on to the finals to play against Team Dignitas. So guys, while the game is loading, we're going to have a look at the teams.
Yeah, and actually, we just saw for a moment Ethereal with a big yawn. He's like, guys, I got this. I got a Haka. It's all good. And we will take this. They want, of course, to tie the series up again. In their setup, we have Tyrande, played by Shrimpy. We see Ethereal Angel, of course, on the Haka. Quacknix on Liming. Breeze on Stitches. And Smexy is playing Rhaegar.
Whereas on the other side, 1 game away from going to the finals, it is myInsanity. And we have Blumby playing Muradin, Hasselwobs on that Kael'thas, Splendor playing Uther, Darkmog on Thrall, and Nurok is playing Tassadar.
Yeah, myInsanity basically saying, all right, listen up, Nurok, you had fun in the last game. We let you off the Tassadar once, that's enough. Playtime's over, you are back to shield duty.
Yeah, he's back on there now. It worked well for them last time, having him off Tassadar, but it seems to be mostly due to the fact that, well, Fnatic had taken it. You can't pick Tassadar for Nurok every time if it's not available.
Yeah, and I mean, they played a great main game here, and Nurok, he was always there when they needed him. In this case right now, a very interesting scenario once again. As expected, we see Stitches with a damage build going straight into the slam here. They need a bit of damage. Oh, and they get their immediate combo against Kael'thas. They get their kill, and that's, ladies and gentlemen, is how you open up a game.
Yes, hook into the Tyrande, into the drag from Athero. how do you live that? The answer is, in this case, you very much don't. So Fnatic taking the first blood, and you already just heard they are back in high spirits.
Yes, exactly, they are. They looked a little bit devastated after the last game. You could really see Shrimpy, he was very sad. And I mean, for good reason. He played Lunara and he had an incredible damage output. But now they have, once again, a little bit more momentum going for them. Early kills, of course, not the biggest deal yet, but it gives you a very good feeling and, of course, also a bit of an emotional advantage over your opponent.
Yeah, with XP, every little bit helps, and Fnatic, they did hit level 2 first. That will continue to keep going, assuming they don't miss any minion XP where they will hit level 3 first, but it's only going to be short ones. They need to pick up some more kills if they want to have a massive impact.
Yeah, right now we're having the two teams, of course, waiting for the first tributes here on Cursed Hollow. There's always a question, do you really let a few go at the beginning? You're just like trying to get some experience instead. The Haka with this global is a huge asset for Fnatic in this case. They can decide to just like stall out a bit. And it's a great combo that they have. They have, first of all, Li Ming, who can always poke with the missiles. There's the Owl on Tyrande that they can use, and the Hook on Stitches. So for myInsanity, it's not really going to be easy to get these tributes, especially if the Haka is at the opposite side of the map and tries to get experience. They are on a clock in these cases, so we could actually see them letting 1 or 2 tributes go, trying to get themselves a little bit of a lead, or at least counter-soak against the Haka.
Yeah, the amount of, like you said, the amount of harass that Fnatic has just means that the longer those tribute fights go on for, the better it is for Fnatic, unless, like you said, they are met in lane. For now, though, we're going to see mercenary camps taken by both teams, the Siege Giants being prepared by the double supports from the side of Fnatic, by the Thrall and the Uther on the side of myInsanity. Both teams just leaving 1-1-1 in each of the lanes.
I'm super hyped for this matchup. This is going to be great. If the last 3 games were any indication of what we can expect here, then this is going to be a fantastic 4th map. And well, for now, we have again a hero here at the bot lane, and he is going to be key for Fnatic. He's going to be so important. He showed his skills on the hero when we were on Sky Temple. Now he has another chance to show how strong he is on the Haka. The tribute is spawning. It's spawning at the bottom. That doesn't give them a whole lot. The Haka is already here. But at the top lane, we have Li Ming, we have Rhaegar. Only one of the heroes is rotating back down, and Karthus is also staying. So they will fight for this tribute. The Haka is there. He's, of course, trying to take the Siege Giants out first. And now the question, can they lock an opponent down?
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're threatening. They don't need to go for the tribute yet. They can keep soaking as long as they have these 3 heroes in one place together. Stitches, Tyrande, and Dahaka. And right now, they're using that threat to try and give Shrimpy the chance to pick up the tribute. He does get interrupted by Bloomby, but look how far Fnatic are starting to push back MYI. Hook does not land on Kale, but Muradin has to leave, and Shrimpy picks up the first tribute.
Great zoning. And one of the biggest threats, of course, is now for myInsanity that one of their heroes gets stun locked. We saw that after the Hook in the early game when Karthus was targeted. But if you have Tehaka, if you have also then Stitches plus Tyrande, and later on Rhaegar even with a slow next to you, then you need to be super careful. One good hook into the back line and you have a huge problem. But let's not forget that with the setup that myInsanity is running here, the level 10s are going to give them a massive, massive power spike. They will have that Divine Shield that they can use for Thrall, and with the shields on Tassadar as well, there's a huge opportunity for them to try and carry with Green Jesus into the back line and pressure, especially Li Ming, but also Tyrande.
Yeah, and for those Li Ming and Tyrande especially, we see some very choice talent choices here from the side of that Thrall, taking the Envenom for that extra burst and the follow-through. He wants to be able to wipe those fairly squishy heroes out as quick as possible. No time for an Ancestral is the plan here from Thrall.
Yeah, that Envenom is definitely scary, especially in the early stage of the game when you're trying to fight for one of these tributes, and that's going to happen very soon. They let the first one go in experience. It's still very much the same here what we're currently seeing. We're having now also Tenderizer taken for Stitches, so once again the idea to hook a target and keep it close with all of the damage that comes out of Li Ming, but also Stitches in this case. Another tribute at the top, and well, the Haka, he's already at the top lane here. So once again, not really a big opportunity for split. So they're going for him though. They're trying to body block. Athera is in trouble, but he goes through the wall. There's the Storm, but he has the well up off cooldown and is able to stay alive.
Yeah, tanks his way through here. There's the hook. There's the cleanse. Very nicely done by Splendor there, cleansing out the follow-up stun from Tyrande. And as such, Kael'thas is going to be able to live. He shall be chilling in the backline for the moment while he waits for more health.
Rhaegar is at the bot lane though. This is a 5 versus 4 up here. As long as they can delay this a bit longer, it's fine. But they're about to lose Stitches, and that's a problem. Stitches is down. Rhaegar still pushing the bot lane. Maybe an Owl can interrupt them there, but Tyrande this. Yep, there it is. It's the Owl. Was just thinking that the cooldown might not be ready, but indeed it is. And that's all that they can achieve for now. So they get the tribute, myInsanity that is, But we have at the same... Well, it still didn't channel it through yet, and once again, Li Ming is interrupting it, so myInsanity is not getting that tribute, at least not just yet.
Yeah, Fnatic continuing to deny this so that they can continue to soak. They aren't soaking mid lane, though, and Tassadar is. So right now, the XP is keeping fairly even, give or take a little, but they have delayed long enough for Stitches to return, and now the horror combo is back available. Darkblock in a risky position, as is Splendor.
Rega is coming back into it. He's actually moving into the mid lane now, first of all. There's also a Cam fighting for them. Thrall is going into the mid lane too. The hook stun combo misses, but Rega is being pushed back a little bit by Thrall and Tassadar in the middle. Up here to the top, though, the tribute is still being fought over.
Yeah, both these teams zoning, looking for their opportunity. Breeze and Athero backing out. Athero tunneling up to the top lane. They don't know where he tunneled to, so he is staying hidden. He does move out and show himself now because he has to back away because he might have been caught by Kael'thas.
It's actually pretty impressive that myInsanity was able to not only maintain... Well, they didn't even like stay on the same amount of experience. They actually took a lead even with Rega at the bot lane. They did a great job taking a few of the structures down and also soaking these waves. So incredible good rotations for myInsanity. It allows them to take the tribute. Fnatic realized that the opponent is too close to the heroics and had to move back. Talking about heroics, there's the Thunder. Nicely dodged, but wow, they really commit to that kill, and Athero, I mean, yeah, he forced them to commit quite a few cooldowns, but in the end, he just cannot escape this.
Yeah, but this does mean that Rhaegar has continued to push this bot lane. This top 4 will be forfeit, but the bottom one for myInsanity is quite weak now, so Fnatic can move in and try and finish that off a little bit later, now that they also have their level 10s.
They have their level 10s now with the Starfall that you would expect in the setup, the Ancestral Healing, Isolation, Critic Bile, and also this Integrate used now on Fnatic's Li Ming. Bot lane is now saved by Nurok. We have another tribute coming in. It's the second tribute for whichever team takes it here. Both of them with 5 years on the map again and very even experience. myInsanity slightly ahead.
Yeah, they are keeping that XP lead for the moment, but Dahaka is now in the top lane. This is exactly where he shines, but the tribute is as far away from him as possible, because 2 times now it has spawned pretty much directly next to him and really negated that global presence.
Very annoying for them, actually. They were hoping with Dahaka to gain an experience lead, and they weren't able to do this because he was always very close to the tribute, so there was no real opportunity for him to just provide this. Again, he's pushing the top lane. He has pretty decent wave clear here, of course, as well, and he can jump into the fight whenever he's needed, and at this point, Fnatic is again doing what they did before. They're trying to buy some time.
Yeah, first denial by Shrimpy here. Owl will be ready shortly. It's actually going to be Disintegrate used to cancel this out, but we see myInsanity coming in. The Sundering is dropped. Shrimpy getting focused out. Ancestral will not land, and Shrimpy will get picked off here.
Yeah, Shrimpy gets picked off. The heal wave first, and then the Ancestral. Usually are trying to go for it the other way around, but in this case, you could see there was just way too much damage, and he had to try and somehow save the target. At least they blow Tassadar away. That's a big win, actually, for Fnatic, but myInsanity, of course, with a double kill, taking again a bit of a lead there. You already have Dahaka down at the bottom of the map. Everybody is moving, or level down. Everybody is moving in right now, trying to go for the tribute, which has just been completed by myInsanity with 2 against 1 lead now.
Yeah, but once again, Fnatic, due to the soak that Dahaka was taking it out a little bit earlier, keeping it still quite close in XP. So now we see both teams just splitting off into the lanes again. They want to keep that XP as close as possible and try and eke out leads over each other.
Vision is going to be incredibly important for Fnatic. I mean, for myInsanity, of course, it plays a huge deal as well because they have to be careful about those Stitches hooks. But you could see that Thrall went in for the flank from behind with the Sundering, and this is one of the setups that he's going to be looking for whenever there's a team fight over an objective, over a boss, whatever it is. He's on to look for these flanks to put pressure on, especially Tyrande, but just like the backline. If they can lock that down and put the burst in before Rhaegar is able to Ancestral, then that is a victory right there. As you pointed out, Tetra, both of the teams still on even experience, mainly thanks to Dahaka, but this is still a very close game. And keep in mind that the next tribute could potentially curse Fnatic.
That is very true, and with the level 13s that they have, both these teams have realized that the burst potential from the other is very scary. So we see a lot of survivability talents. We see the Relentless from Stitches, Whirling Dervish, Dahaka's version of Relentless every time he has that Dark Swarm up, Sprint from that Tyrande, the Illusionist, and on the other side, Prescience, of course, from Tassadar, the Shrink Ray from the Uther.
The Earthcrash shield, of course, with a really huge advantage now. It helps you to just buy a bit more time where you can use the Ancestral to keep a target safe. That's the whole thought process behind it. As long as you are able to make sure that myInsanity doesn't burst the target down on Fnatic's lineup, they can keep those safe, but not if it's Rhaegar.
Rhaegar getting focused down right now. He is still alive for the moment. The Starfall slowing down the chase, and Smexy able to pull back. Now the focus is on Breeze, but the Living Bomb is spread hugely there. The Starfall, though, they hook in Darkbog. Darkbog focused down. The Starfall slowed the escape of myInsanity with now a Thero giving chase. In comes the Disintegrate, and they get Uther. No, the shield. It might be enough there. The Arcade Orb picks him off in the end.
That double kill for Fnatic. A great hook by Breeze initiates it with a kill against Thrall, and they are able to eliminate Uther too. Again, the hook.
Nice dimensional
Tessida
shift.
not stunned though. Very well done by Nurok here. But that just shows how scary Breeze with the Stitches is at this point. In myInsanity, they can never feel safe, and that is the whole reason of what Fnatic is doing here. They have the second tribute. They are already in the middle of the map with another big wave. DreamHack immediately jumping down to the bot lane. He wants the extra experience, and it helps Fnatic to take the lead.
Yeah, and DreamHack will probably be able to get this fort very shortly once he kills off that next minion wave. But for now, though, he moves into a bush and hides himself. He doesn't want to get rotated on because they are still missing vision on a couple people.
Yeah, vision is going to be incredibly important.
Oh, Breeze.
Oh my god, he gets it! He gets the hook against Splendor. They're going for it. There's no Divine Shield. Phoenix is already there. And at the same time, again, the sprint used by Schwimpty to get out of this position with a Phoenix in play, with already Blumby there. They're not going for the kill, but that was a scary moment. And again, a lot of the heroics are in cooldown. Look at the Thero. He's taking down the fort, and now a Curse Tribute is going to spawn on the map.
Yeah, and we are seeing them try to guard it. myInsanity keeping the protection. The Thero takes a little bit of damage. There's the there once again is a dimensional shift by Nurok to protect himself here. He's Splendor going for the channel. In comes a Thero for the zone. The Arcade Orb and all of Quacknix's abilities will stop them getting taken out.
Darkmog was looking for the flank, but the wave pushing in did not allow him to do it. There was vision for Fnatic, and again the hook attempt a bit too short this time. We have the setup against Breeze though. Gravity Lapse is there, but as we already pointed out earlier, he has the Relentless and making good use of it. Burrow used on a Thero, healing Ward in the back, giving them a bit more safety. Divine is out, and they are in retreat. Oh, what a hit by Quacknix again. His Li Ming play once again exceptional. The heal! A Thero safe for now, but can he survive?
He's getting chased down. He spreads the Living Bomb to Smexy. Blumby still frontlining for his team with the help of the shields from Tassadar. Breeze is just blocking everything off. You will not take this tribute. Both teams trying to protect, but now myInsanity sending a couple people back to Fountains. Fnatic doing the same. These teams are still going to be fairly sustained. Quacknix going for a haircut. Blumby deny. Quacknix just cancels it, tries to go for the kill on Blumby. The owl comes in just for good measure to try and gain vision on where the members of myInsanity are coming from. And Fnatic get the first curse.
They get the curse, and a big advantage that they had is that their own well was still up at the bot lane, very close to where the tribute spawned, whereas myInsanity did not only have to move into the middle of the map, into the mid lane, but no, their well there is down. They had to go to the keep, and that's a huge distance to cover, which allowed Fnatic to just buy those precious seconds to complete the channel. Now they have the level 16 talent advantage, and with a curse, they are eager to take down structures.
Yeah, and with those level 16s, we're seeing the elongated tongue. So now DreamHack, even scarier. He can pick you from further away. Fnatic able to get 2 forts in this curse time. They're looking solid and scary because Fishing Hook is now available for Breeze, and that makes this composition just absolutely horrifying.
This is absolutely frightening. You're totally right here, Tetcha. In this case now, Fnatic, of course, they need to be so careful. They are still 1 map down in the best of 5 series. If they lose on Cursed Hollow, then it's over. myInsanity would advance to face Dignitas in the finals. We have 16 versus 16. And once again, here comes the hook against Darkmog. Immediately the attack. Breeze, on the other hand, is going to be collapsed upon. Their heal is there. Smexy with a move saves his tank, saves his front line. Athero helping out as well. Nice damage from Li Ming. Quacknix so on point, and what is stunned by Schwimpy.
Fnatic have regrouped up, and now they're looking for the chase. There's the hook. It is the tank, though. Blumby immediately pops the avatar, turns onto Li Ming. In comes Darkmog from behind. He's trying to pick up Smexy. The stun doesn't hit because of the Divine Shield. Darkmog will survive, and Thero getting thrown. He dodges the Flame Strike. He silences Chaos.
There is no way. There's no way. Athero, what a play. What a monster. This guy gets out and nearly causes them to kill another target. Unbelievable. He should have died 3 times over in this fight. What a move. Athero, by far the best DreamHack player that we have in Europe at this point. The games that he has shown at this tournament are incredible, and he just did it again. And that fight Thatcher, it turned so fast. Their hook against Thrall, the stun attempt, and then they try to collapse onto Fnatic. myInsanity sees an opportunity, and they nearly get the kills, but just barely. Fnatic retreating with everybody still alive.
Neither of these teams want to drop anyone right now. They need all 5 members alive constantly. myInsanity especially, though, due to the fact that they are only 1 tribute away from that curse. Whereas Fnatic still just keeping a Thera Angel a little bit further away, scouting out the boss in this scenario. Whereas the rest of Fnatic hanging around in the bottom lane, also scouting out the potential for a boss.
17 versus 16. Keep in mind that next tribute is going to be dangerous for Fnatic because it could curse them. At this point, the teams, they can't allow themselves to make any mistakes here with the 16 and the Benediction. Uther has a lot more power to heal now. We have also Kalthas on the 16 talent going again into the Sun King's Fury. And this is a scary moment, especially Breeze is in trouble since we are having on Thrall now his triple hit on the 16 talent that allows him to apply Giant Killer 3 times to a target. So especially Smexy has to be super, super careful. He needs to see when Stitches is attacked and immediately drop that quick ancestral healing.
Yeah, he needs to be able to protect him, or this is going to be massive trouble for Fnatic, who right now, though, have a good position on this tribute, except Li Ming is all the way on the other side of the map. In come myInsanity, going for Breeze. Breeze drops that Putrid Bile, and he's able to pull back, but it looks like this tribute could be going over to myInsanity, but Li Ming has now arrived at the harassment. The denial shall begin. It's the hook!
The hook is not met by a stun there. They were afraid of course, the dimensional shift, which didn't even hit. The mod of the day, go hard or go home, and neither one of these teams wants to go home right now. Once more, the poked battle has started here. Li Ming is there. Cooldowns have been contributed. Look at Darkmok. Athero is ready, but Athero is so low here. They might have to drop that Ancestral. They do. It's pretty late, but it is in time.
And Athero will survive it. He's able to hold Darkmok back. The Disintegrate drops Hasbro up so low. He is able to pull back as well. There's the hook. It grabs the healer. Divine Shield is used. And so far, both of these teams keeping everyone alive again. But Fnatic starting to gain some ground, pushing it onwards. They currently have the tribute area. And myInsanity just going to let it go.
Schwimpy holding back the Starfall during the entire fight here. Muradin, on the other hand, not using his avatar. But with this many important cooldowns used for myInsanity, they gave up the tribute. They say, guys, just take a deep breath right now. We are 2 tributes ahead. We can let this one go. Just move back for now. Make sure that we don't die. We have no Divine Shield. We have no Sundering anymore. Let's just retreat and fight for the next one.
Yeah, they're just waiting it out, and both of these teams showing an incredible amount of patience here, while simultaneously just dealing so much damage to each other.
I mean, Li Ming, once again, Quacknix, it's not really the hero that he's known for, but the damage output that he has, he is hitting these shots over and over again. At this point, the ratio with which he hits his skill shots is absolutely insane. 55,000 damage by him alone. On the side of myInsanity, it's Thrall who takes the top damage, followed by Kalthas, both of them on a solid 44 and 43k. But it is, again, Fnatic with a slightly inexperience here. The teams are both heading into 20 right now, and it's such a scary game. They are both moving through the jungle here, and they are trying to find out if there's maybe a bush where someone is hiding. All the time, abilities just zip through the map, trying to see if there's the trap somewhere ahead.
Yeah, owls flying everywhere. Tassadar being on mobile ward a lot of the time. Neither of these teams willing to give up area. There's the owl. Not sure how much that actually spotted, but remember, Fnatic, they do have Dehaka still sucking top lane, and he's going to creep them towards that level 20, but he does need to come down very soon.
Breeze has to be careful. Li Ming also might have to sacrifice the teleport cooldown here. She's currently in the middle and is trying to just deep push the lane, walks around, doesn't have to sacrifice anything for now. Nuro can be interrupted. The owl is not used yet. There it is, very late. Great timing by Shrimpy, well done. And Dehaka, guess here he is. He's still up at the top lane, pushing the lane in.
Yeah, he's putting on the pressure. Quacknix will deny his tribute and chunk Nurok there, but in comes Darkmok, putting pressure onto Breeze, forcing them back a bit. There's the hook. Divine Shield is available, but the second stun misses. Darkmok still able to tank. The Zoning Phoenix coming out, but Shrimpy has most of his cooldowns back. He is going to be ready for the next denial, and he does, but he actually does not hit Darkmok here, so there isn't anything left, so this is going to be a curse.
Double channel, well done. Top lane has been pushed significantly by Dehaka. He's moving in, but they're retreating. They're trying to at least. Here comes the Ancestral. Breeze is a little bit too late. They have to sacrifice the cooldown. That is Integrate is forcing Darkmok himself back, and Bloom is also retreating. A bit of fire here from the backline. Hazobs with the zoning, but the curse has hit Fnatic, and that might allow myInsanity to grab that level 20 just in time to make sure that the Fnatic is not getting a huge lead out of them getting the next talent a bit faster.
Yeah, both of these teams are going to hit level 20 very quickly. Look at Fnatic though. They're going to position themselves here and get ready for a fight, but Athero isn't here with them right now. He's currently just sitting up in the top left, just waiting to see if he can burrow somewhere to help his team that way. But Fnatic, they do lose the fort. There's their 20. And now they could try and get someone, but myInsanity will have their 20 very, very shortly. Double rewind for Fnatic.
We are 21 minutes into the game and not a single boss has been attacked or taken. Apex Predator once again for DreamHack. We're seeing the double rewind that was already mentioned by Techa onto Ronda and also on Rhaegar. Of course, the Temporal Flux and Fnatic, they collapse to the bottom. They're trying to go for their boss and they will get it. At the top lane, on the other hand, a bit of a trap set up against DreamHack. Not successful, but myInsanity, realizing what's happening, is going straight on double out for double damage. And yeah.
Yeah, does a lot of damage onto Hasselhoff, but he will be fine. He gets healed up very much instantly. So both of these bosses going to be taken here. Neither team are going to try and contest. But myInsanity's a little bit later, and as such, Fnatic starts to put pressure onto the bot lane, clearing the minions, making sure that boss has a clear path. And we see myInsanity responding by being back.
That 20, of course, here on the side of Kel'Thas with the Master of Flames, and that spread damage could really ruin Fnatic if they don't pay attention in these fights. Redemption for Uther, such a big tool at this point, and also, of course, for Darkmoor, for Thrall, like that Bolt of the Storm is great. Not only is it good but if he wants to just get away and escape, but at the same time, it's a tool that he can use if he wants to go in and try for a good position. He was looking for these flanks the entire game. Athero, the hero that was trying to just like deny it to him most of the time, but both of the teams, again, with a safe play there, going for the defense. I'm loving this game. This series is insanely good.
Yeah, neither one of these teams wants to give an inch right now. Both teams clear out the bosses. Both teams go for their Siege Giant camps. Fnatic have the potential of going for their Bruiser camp, and now so to myInsanity. It just spawned.
And at this point, myInsanity must be asking themselves, where are these mistakes that Fnatic has been making over and over against teams like Dignitas here? We need one of those right now so that we can win the game. We know that myInsanity is insanely good at seizing the opportunity if one presents itself, but Fnatic is still patiently waiting for a chance to win this game. They have a tribute lead right now. The curse is over. All of the keeps are still there, and I am loving how Athero, the entire game, is just all over the map trying to give them a lead.
Yeah, always split pushing, always prepared. He tunnels himself down to the bot lane now to clear out the mercenary camp and get even more XP for his team. And his team playing so safe. We've been seeing myInsanity so many times position themselves in bushes out on the map, see if they can catch Fnatic wandering around looking for kills. And what they're finding is nothing, because Fnatic are only staying where they 100% need to be.
These constant owls that we see all the time giving vision. A hook, the stun, the damage, but it's not enough. Double Stormbolt hit against Athero and Breeze. The Force Wall is there. The drag against Muradin, but again the Phoenix zoning them out. Breeze has to pop his own heroic abilities. Moving away and the channel has started. It's a single channel though, and therefore they can interrupt with the owl, but Splendor's already on the job. Nice body block here, but he gave him up. He tries to go in. A great heal. Schwimpy with a sprint trying to get away, but now Athero is all of a sudden attacked. Burrow is being used. Can they drop him? No, they can't. There's the Starfall for the zone. Great play by both of these teams now.
Still, no one wants to die, and this fight's still going. The hook does not land for Breeze this time. Darkmoor coming in once again onto Breeze. In comes Bloodby onto Athero.
Oh!
They're in trouble. Athero goes down, and Fnatic immediately pulling back. They can continue to deny with owls for now, but myInsanity will get the tribute.
myInsanity gets the tribute. It is their first. There are no bosses up on the map at this point. There's very little that they can really do. They need to go to the top. They need to defend the wave that is pushing in. So there's not too much that myInsanity can do with this. They can clear lanes. They can like gain a bit more vision. They can try and go for a bit of a trap. But so far, this is of course an insanely close game between the two of them, worthy of a fourth map in this best-of-5 semifinal.
Yeah, this could even go to a fifth match still. It is 100% not over, but there's 25 seconds left for DreamHack and myInsanity, using this time to take all vision, all locations that are available left on the map. Fnatic, though, they want some revenge. They want to try and fight a pig, but myInsanity is sticking so close together that even if someone's picked, there's a good potential that everything's going to be able to save them, except Divine Shield, currently 10 seconds away.
Yeah, 10 seconds away, and DreamHack is only 3 seconds out. There come the whole cooldown countdowns back on. We are already seeing Starfall. Breeze wants the vision, but myInsanity, they don't want to give it up. Dehaka has a chance to move in, and he will do that. He's already here. Isolation against Breeze. He's trying to move in a little bit and retreats with his heroic ability. He's very low. They use the ult immediately when it's off cooldown. Smexy back to 100 seconds on Ancestral, but they move in. Fnatic with the opportunity maybe to take one of those bad boys down. Hazorps is low, and Quacknix is trying to capitalize on it, but has to move away.
Yeah, Quacknix is bursting people down, still looking for the chase potential. Blubby positioning himself in the good area. Dodges the Kratis dodges the stun though. Athero comes in, tries to get Muradin, and they also hook Tassadar, but neither one going down. Nice forceful, separating the tanks. In comes the living bombs from Kael'thas. They can't afford to be spreading those. Here comes the engage, but Breeze just getting through that fact is relentless.
Yeah, Thero's already there. Darkmog has to be super careful. It's on half health, but the rest of the team is doing a great job, especially Uther and Tassa now with amazing healing power here, keeping the team in the fight. This is the second tribute for one of the teams, and Tassa every single time with these force walls, they are spot on, always isolating front line. Great attempt to kill, but Blumby is jumping out. What a reaction by him, immediately making sure that the unstoppable frames on his Dwarf Toss make sure that the second stun does not hit him.
Looked like there was no time to use that jump to get out of that, but somehow Muradin found some and was able to escape there. Incredibly well played, and once again, these teams back to their usual strategy. Athero back in the bottom lane.
The bosses are up now though, and we are 26, 27 minutes into the game right now. This means that the bosses are incredibly powerful. Of course, the earlier ones have already opened up parts of the gate, so this is definitely one of those moments when you can start to go for keep. Both of these teams playing such a cautious game. This is Heroes of the Storm on the highest level.
Absolutely. We are seeing Muradin scouting out the boss of Fnatic. Fnatic using the Owl to scout out the boss of myInsanity. Neither one giving an inch here. And Blumby looking around here, don't think he saw Breeze there, and he don't think he saw Athera Angel still chilling in the bot lane in that bush, waiting for an opportunity. Tribute though, spawning way closer to myInsanity.
Perfect position for myInsanity. Perfect. They get the camp, and you could really tell that Fnatic wanted to go for their own Bruiser camp, but they had to retreat. They moved back. They could not make this work, and now we have still at the bot lane currently Muradin, but this time Tassa, he eats the damage again, but Nurug is more or less unkillable at this point.
Yeah, Muradin's on the way to Haka, staying down in the bot lane for now to go to clear out the mercenaries, give his team some breathing room, but look where Darkmog is. Here he comes, and there's the Sundering hitting 3 members, and we're seeing Rhaegar getting burst out. He drops his team, but he is taken out. Breeze now getting zoned. Storm Shield is dropped by Tassadar, and here comes the drag onto Murmur. The force will separate them out. Breeze getting focused, he's still alive, but the Divine Shield of Darkmog keeping him alive too, and Breeze goes down. That's 2 kills.
Oh, and it might be a third. Quacknix with a teleport. He's escaping for now. Blumby, is he going to go for the jump? He's teleporting again, not being hit. The poke is there. Quacknix is still trying to escape. Here comes Athero trying to help out using Burrow. I'm not sure if that was a good choice, dude. Nope, it was not. He's dead. That's the 3rd kill. The top lane is being pushed, but the curse is on myInsanity.
Quacknix is not out yet.
It's on Fnatic, and myInsanity is trying to go for it.
Bot lane, Quacknix is not out yet. Splendor giving chase. Can he get him? There's the teleport. Using the temporal flux, and he's killed by the Holy Radiance.
Oh my god, what a play again by myInsanity. They go for boss now. The top lane is still a bit pushed in against them, but they don't care, and why would they? In the mid lane, they have a keep already pressured, thanks to the camp at the bottom lane. We see the same thing. Even with them losing the keep up top, they take the boss. They want to go for victory, and now, of course, we only have 2 heroes, soon to be 3 alive for Fnatic. myInsanity, they want to take the game. Rhaegar. They go for Rhaegar, and that has to be it.
And they're going to try push for the end here. There's the hook on the Muradin. He immediately pops Avatar and moves onto the core. So many minions here for myInsanity. The boss will be here soon. The core is dropping. Schwimpy, the only person defending here. Breeze coming in as well, trying to hold Hasselhoffs. The main damage, Hasselhoffs may go down. There's the curse, and it's GG. And myInsanity will go on to the finals to meet with Team Dignitas.
myInsanity victorious, and the man himself right here in the middle of the shot. It's, of course, It's Dartmoor with his thrall, with that flank that he had. They took down Rhaegar exactly when they had to. For the longest time, it was just a stalemate, and then this one opportunity to go for the healer. No chance to ancestor yourself, no chance to cleanse yourself. All of a sudden, the pressure was on Smexy. He had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and well, Dartmoor, he just went for it. He has everything that he needs. They kill Rhaegar, and after that, they just paint the map red with the blood of Fnatic. They take everybody down. It was a great escape for Quacknix, but at the end, it didn't really matter anymore. The boss taken, and myInsanity claims a 3-1 victory.
Yeah, an incredible game by then, and Fnatic staggering their deaths a bit at the end there, and myInsanity just making so much efficiency out of that. And just incredible play by both of these teams, though we can't take it away from Fnatic just how difficult they made that game for myInsanity.
It was absolutely, I mean, this game went, it was a 29-minute game, 30 minutes nearly. We had at the end 10 kills against 4, but that was only because of that killing spree. Up to, I think, 28 minutes, we had something like 4 kills against 4, until all of a sudden myInsanity found that one moment. They were looking for it for 15 minutes. They were looking for the one engage that would give them the victory in this match, and they found it. Fnatic played a great series, but myInsanity, they have just shown why they are so incredibly scary.
Yeah, and you just saw how many times those hooks would land, and myInsanity would be able to escape that. Just absurdly good play by them.
And of course, guys, we are very curious what our analysts have to say about the series here. We know also now who will play in the final match, and I'm very curious to hear what Grubby Kendrick and, of course, Dreadnought have to say about these games.
Thank you very much, Calder. Wow, what a finish to this semifinals. I mean, Fnatic, they fought valiantly, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. myInsanity looked just really, really strong, and they always seem to know how to avoid these Stitches hooks. I can't remember a single moment in the game where you could really see that, oh, Stitches Tyrannicomp, really good, destroys myInsanity. Didn't just happen. What do you think, guys, was the key element for myInsanity to actually make it through?
Well, there was one moment where it looked really good. Second 20, when they got the first kill, the first blood there. Yeah. The Stitches into Lunar Flare.
Right, okay, true.
But of course, what Fnatic had to fight up against in myInsanity was that the first hook could get pre-cleansed, in which case it will bounce off of the victim, the would-be victim. The second one can get Divine Shielded. And if all that fails, there's 3 targets that don't care about being hooked. Merlin can jump away, Tassadar can Dimensional Shift. So it was always going to be the 4th or 5th hook that would get some victims. And that's what we saw in this game. And that was potent, but it didn't have as much chances of success as like the solid composition from myInsanity maybe.
Yeah, I think just overall, they just played the map really well, and they were very, very patient as well. Even in the end there, I mean, they did go for the boss, the way safer route. They didn't rush the core like they have done in the past. So before we continue this ramble about myInsanity, let's actually hear it from themselves. So Hazuops and Red Eye, they are ready for the interview. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Kendrick. Yes, Hazuops with me. Congrats on the win. Superb win in the end, but a really hard-fought win. Just how hard was it in your own words?
It was very hard. I think each map was very close. Maybe the Sky Temple game, they had a big lead, but we somehow managed to get the core to 20%. And the other maps, I mean, you saw it. It was pretty crazy. It was very high-quality games, I think.
All the way through as well. What, in your opinion, separates you from Fnatic? Because I know that both teams talked to each other before and said this is probably going to be 3-1 either way. So why was it 3-1 to you guys?
I think given the maps, how they panned out, like how we did the map vetoes, and Battlefield of Eternity was the 3rd map, and the Haka is globally banned, so we prepared a strategy where you either ban one warrior, take the other one, like ETC Muradin, or you take both. We got both, and then we had a very good draft, but they had Lunara, so I think they countered it pretty well, and the game was absolutely insane. I mean, at the end they died to the minions, because it was kind of checkmate. They had to do something, but I think that was the game that actually put one team into the favor, and we luckily won it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that one, because 3rd game in and that happens to you, does that mean that does it tilt you in any way? Do you start thinking, oh, for crying out loud, how did we let that go like that? Are they feeling the same, do you think?
I don't think they were tilted, but so we won our map choice, they won theirs, which was Tomb and Sky, and then Battlefield, like we didn't practice it for a while, but as I said, we had a very specific draft idea, and then the 4th map was Cursed. And I think we really needed the boost which we got in the 3rd map, because usually on Cursed we like to choke and we like to throw the game, but this time everyone was like fully focused, and Actually, I don't even know what happened. Somehow we won it, I guess.
That's just good. It's all right. We've got a couple of experts. They'll recap for you and let you know how you won so well. In the sense of the bigger picture, Katowice, everyone says, bit of a fluke, got all the way to the final, didn't perform very well. I know you guys were actually very disappointed with that, and you felt like you wanted to come here and prove a point. Is the point proven, or is there one step more?
I mean, the community probably thinks Na'Vi is still better. But looking at the results, I think it's very clear that Dignitas and us, at least in the top 3 of Europe. I think Na'Vi having a good day and Fnatic obviously being also there, but it's the same final as last regional, so I'm very happy.
All right, well, we'll see you in that final very shortly, because Hasselhoffs will be back with myInsanity as they go head-to-head with Dignitas. But first, let's hear from the expert panel and see if they remember what happened in this format. It's been brilliant.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. Wow, we actually have a revival of the spring split. So basically, we have once again myInsanity versus Team Dignitas. And I think we all have to get used to one thing. myInsanity is not inconsistent. Definitely not.
I agree with you. I think they've proven themselves. That is, in my opinion, this was like that game and that series was enough to be like, this is the second best in Europe right now. Maybe going to be the best. They're going to have to prove that here.
Right.
But for the time being, they're definitely one of the contenders to try and compete on the international scale for Europe.
Yeah, and that's definitely, a thing for myInsanity to maybe have their grudge match and their revenge against Team Dignitas, who admittedly still look unshaken. And I'm not sure if they're impressed by myInsanity, but they're certainly going to try to analyze their victories to the best of their ability. Grubby, something you want to add to this spicy little grand finals?
Well, Dignitas won their semifinals 3-0 and myInsanity 3-1, and it looked harder for myInsanity, but they also faced the tougher opponent.
Right.
In terms of warming up leading into the grand finals, that is actually a great way of doing it. Having a single loss makes you visibly less shaken when you actually suffer one of those in the grand finals. Whereas when you're 3-0, you lose your first, that's suddenly a new feeling on that day. So that's one thing. And the second thing is that, yeah, they are both top 2 now, but of course this is a tournament for the championship. Before, top 2 was enough to qualify for the global championship, and now only the
Very
winner.
Good point.
So I don't think myInsanity is sitting here like, yeah, we prove once again we're a top 2 team. They do want that revenge, because Dignitas made them look a little bit silly during spring with that 3-0 victory. I believe myInsanity won in the group back there against Dig, and then Dig was like, okay, when it matters here in the grand finals, 3-0. So
easy peasy.
Some reckoning to be coming, perhaps.
So you actually mentioned something very cool during the last semifinals, in the last match, even on Cursed Hollow. Dread, tell us about your personal MVP.
It was Darkmok, actually. Darkmok
and explain why.
He had a lot of, he was the Thrall player for myInsanity. He had 3 really, really good flanks. So the team fight would happen, and there was a lot of skirmishing going back and forth and everything. And he would separate himself completely and abuse the fog of war and be very aggressive in his positioning, wait for the Murden to then leap in and force a team fight, and then instantly collapse in and get a flank onto his opponents. And that gave him a lot of kill opportunities, and he actually was the reason that Rhaegar died first in that last team fight. The team fight starts a little bit, he decides to hyper engage from the back line, and then with that late game, Thrall scaling just puts him in a position to just eliminate the
And
dog.
Thrall, of course, is always one of those heroes that can single-handedly turn the tide of a battle. That Sun Ring is such an impactful heroic ability, so definitely a nice thing to do, and very well played by Darkmog. Now, if you had to mention someone who represented Fnatic really well, because they certainly didn't go down without a fight, right? They put up a really good show. Grubby, anything or anyone that stood out in particular from Fnatic? Or several people you can also name.
Yeah, from Fnatic, I really liked Shrimpy's play on Tyrande. It wasn't made easy for him, though, because he is the primary engaged target, and Darkmok abused that. I liked the sprint choice on Tyrande. I think it was necessary and saved him a few times. Stitches played pretty well as well. So I didn't see as much Dehaka play possible. Like the split push wasn't to the effect that you would like it to be. Not because he didn't play it well, but just because there was so much pressure on the map all the time.
Yeah, and something for Fnatic to maybe take out of this best of 5 in this semifinals, something they can work and improve on. Is there something, Dreadnought, that you would think, okay, guys, we need to sit together and this needs to be fixed ASAP?
I would say, I feel like just being on the same page, communication, I would definitely look towards draft.
Right.
But I feel like every team can kind of look towards their draft decision making. When it came to actual play, I think communication would be the only major thing. At times, it felt like whether or not they're all on the same page or whether or not they understand exactly what they need to be doing as a team. They do seem to be a little bit sloppy at times, and that's what I'd be looking to the most.
Yeah. I gotta say, I am kind of positively surprised by Quacknix, though, because many criticized him for only having 2 heroes that he really can play very well. But his Li Ming was okay. His Vala was very good because they won the game with him on the Vala. So I think that's at least something they can sort of take positively out of this tournament, you know, that not everything is bad by no means, because placing 3rd and 4th is still a very nice thing, and they get away with a couple of pizza dollars there for sure.
Yeah, especially the difference between 3rd and 2nd place in terms of prize money is not large. The 1st place, I believe, gets $25,000,
exactly, yeah.
then 20, then 15. So it's not the prize money you're missing out on. I don't think anyone is thinking about that. It's the glory of playing for our full audience here in our small Leicester studio, and also, of course, for the people of Twitch to actually represent yourself in the grand finals, and of course to have that chance of going to the global championship in Sweden.
Exactly. There is another qualifier upcoming in a couple of weeks in Tours France, so we should definitely not forget about that either. Now, take a little bit of a look back throughout the group stage. I mean, we've seen very, very cool endings, core rushes, clutch fights, even Winions taking down a core. And I think Heroes of the Storm really shows how diverse it can be. Is this something that you entirely missed, or a hero that you would like to see, or something along those lines?
For me, it's always Artanis. I think he's really appealing to watch. But at the same time, I completely understand why he's not necessarily one of the most contested heroes in the game. But he's always, in my opinion, his playstyle is really fun. Any really good swaps are really entertaining. And I don't know, I feel like I like his playstyle when I actually get to play him as well. So he's always something that I like to look for.
Let's actually hear from Dr. Dread himself. Which is the ultimate Artanis build that you mostly go for?
I would argue, just because the relevance of the map, I would go with Battlefield of Eternity and then go with the amateur opponent at the beginning, triple strike oriented with a couple of shield and Q talents in the midway, like 4 and 7 at that point. But largely the triple strike proc with the amateur, and maybe even you could actually go with follow through. It depends on if you need the survivability at that point. But
I've tried follow through on Artanis, man, but I really miss the Templar Seal Psionic synergy.
Yeah.
Kind of working together for those shield resets. I feel like it makes him a lot more one-dimensional when you play with follow through.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I do more damage, but you know, I survive 1/3 as long. So I love Artanis as well, and every time I go follow through, I end up regretting it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, a number of heroes that we haven't seen here yet. Artanis, one of the ones I love, and of course, the average Hero League player will continue wondering, where's Lily? Well, we did see her once with Water Dragon in an interesting pairing by Silence Monkeys.
What happened to Jaina?
Jaina, I just saw an interesting post on Reddit where some people did the math, and I'm not going to share everything, but Jaina has less total damage in full skill rotations than both Li Ming and Kel'Thas. Li Ming can do it from further, whereas Kel'Thas also has stun, whereas Jaina, of course, she has that slow. And so, as a result, Jaina has a little bit too low damage for how close she actually needs to come to a degree.
And that was with the adjustment at 13, no longer having the ice barrier, which is something that is like, it's huge for her. It was a very, like,
the ice block, right?
Yeah, because you put her in a position to where she could essentially flank the back line, get a large amount of damage onto multiple people, and then ice block, wait for the positioning of her team, and essentially be saved. That's legitimately not even an option. Then you would argue, well, maybe you can move into having like an Icy Veins ice barrier where you can like where you get the shield whenever you cast the spells. Turns out those are on the same talent tier now, so it's not even an option there. She has 0 survivability at this point.
Also, the lack of Bolt of the Storm, of course, at level 20 hits her quite hard because she's very immobile, even a little bit less protective than Kel'Thas, I would say. If you guys out there actually want to join this route of discussion, you can also use the hashtag HGC and let us know which heroes you would have liked to see in this tournament and which heroes you are looking forward to potentially see in the grand finals. Upcoming, of course, at 7 p.m. CEST between Dignitas and myInsanity. you know, some final words maybe towards the whole process of the tournament. We've talked about heroes that we would like to see. Is there any team that you are particularly looking forward to see in the next qualifier or in future tournaments in general, Grubby?
I mean, whatever team loses here, myInsanity, Dignitas, they're going to be the team to beat. The winner team can also still play in the next qualifier, but they would not take up a spot if they end up winning. So either way, I think we're going to have a really powerful team moving into the second one. But this is what it's about, man. You can't count on that second chance. So I hope we're going to see a close series, hopefully all the way to 5. And I hope we'll see some heroes that we haven't seen yet. Maybe even Nazebo is the second highest win rate right now.
Yeah. Dred, any final words towards teams and how they will get stronger after this tournament?
For me, I want to see Fnatic going into the next tournament.
Right.
I feel like from the last qualifier, they were very much hyped to be a successful team finally getting a showing. I feel like they've made strides in the right direction. They aren't quite where they're going to end up, and I feel like by the next qualifier, they might kind of come back and be a little bit more of a surprise and like kind of filling the what a lot would consider kind of like the powerful roster that they are, and finally showing that through results. So
absolutely. So keep fighting, boys, and good luck for the next time. For now, though, we're going to focus on the upcoming finals, of course, between Team Dignitas and myInsanity, and we're going to be right back to you guys to take you through it very slowly but surely. So come back after the commercial break and stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching.